Well, hi, howdy, hello folks. How's everybody doing? Thanks for taking the time to hang out this Sunday. We are back in XP11, and we're in beautiful New York City. This is a fantastic scenery from Trajecki Design. Probably my favorite scenery there is just an absolutely fantastic rendition of what is often referred to as the greatest city on the planet. You can certainly tell why in this scenery for sure. But I hope you're all doing fantastic. We're back in XP11, and we're going to be flying the fantastic FlyJSim 727 to kick things off. Since I'm feeling especially generous today, we're going to go from biplanes to trijets to starships. Yes, you heard me right. There will be starships later, or there will be a starship later. If I can finagle Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, but that's going to be fun when we pull that out later. But I hope you're all doing fantastic today. Thanks for hanging out. James 2, Portland Aviation, Absolutely Aviation, Rick, Daniel Bugoki, And anybody else who's in chat who hasn't chimed in yet, feel free to drop a quick howdy. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Thanks for hanging out today. So, as I mentioned yesterday, I was really dying to pull the old FlyJSim tri-jet out of mothballs because I recently came across this absolutely fantastic livery, right? This livery right here is just absolutely amazing. It's a really old retro Northwest Airlines livery. I think it even predates the Northwest Orient colors, you know, when they unveiled that livery. So it's really awesome. Now, of course, as far as I know, Northwest Orient never actually applied this route that we're going to be flying today between LaGuardia and Washington Reagan. But as opposed to returning to the Pacific Northwest or someplace else in the country where there may not necessarily be a challenging approach, I thought it'd be a lot more fun to take this to Washington National today and fly the river visual. I've also got Drzeki's Washington, D.C. scenery, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to check out that beautiful scenery and that beautiful city in these beautiful colors today. All right, so let me catch up on chat before we hop in the cockpit and get everything set up here. Rick says you're booked for New York City in June. Yeah, that'd be great, Rick, if you can make it over there. It's a wonderful city to visit, especially in the summertime for sure. And hope, you know, well, we'll see what the situation is with COVID, right? It's been kind of bad so far, you know, and hopefully that situation has improved significantly by the time summer and June rolls around, right? We'll see. Daniel, that's great to hear. Haven't seen your name in a while. I hope you're doing amazing. No worries at all, Daniel. That's all good. That's why I have VODs available for these streams. So if you ever want to catch up, you're more than welcome to catch up via the VODs, of course. But I'm glad you're hanging out with us today. Antonia Manson, how's it going? Antonia Manson from the beautiful island of Bali in Indonesia. I hope you're doing well there, Antonio. Thanks for hanging out today. All right, folks. Let's before we actually hop in the cockpit here, let's talk about our game plan. I'm not, in case you can't tell, by the way, I'm not using real-world weather. In fact, I was trying to finagle ActiveSky to give me historical weather from yesterday. The real-world conditions right now are kind of bad and not exactly conducive to landing on 19er. So winds right now actually are out of the northeast. 05, let me show you. 050 at 10 knots. Visibility is well below VFR minimums, definitely well below the minimums for the river visual, even if you wanted to do it with a tailwind. So 1 statute mile visibility, light snow, mist, ceilings broken at 900. So as much as I love my challenging approaches, this is a bit too challenging for me. So we've reverted to historical weather from yesterday, where we've actually have some actual winds, you know, some actual VFR type weather with some winds out of the south that favor landing on 19er. Should still be a lot of fun and should still be a fun challenge as always. All right, folks, let's take a look at our flight plan today. And by the way, because we're using historical weather, I'm going to be staying offline. Otherwise, I'd hop on VATSIM for this short hop today. Also, by the way, the other reason I wanted to do this route is because it's been a while since we've flown on stream in the Northeast. So I figured it was time to get back to it and visit this part of the world that hasn't received a whole lot of love from us lately. All right, so we're going to be going a short 200 nautical miles to the southeast here, southwest correction, towards Washington, D.C. Let's pull up the high-end route chart. Once again, right, we're just going to be navigating VORs and jetways, airways en route today. And the reason I'm doing that is because pretty much all of the arrival procedures for Washington National, right here, all the arrival procedures basically are RNAV procedures, with the exception of a couple of non-RNAV procedures that come in from the west and the south. Obviously, since we're coming in from the northeast, that's not going to work for us because everything else is RNAV. I do have an INS system on board, but honestly, we've got 2 sims to hop into today. Technically 3 sims if you count Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. But we're going to have that running while we do MSFS, actually. That'll be kind of fun and interesting. But since we've got, you know, 2, perhaps 3 flights to do today, you know, I figured as opposed to spending all that time initiating the INS, let's just go ahead and, you know, fly VOR to VOR and self-vector ourselves for the river visual and get this part of the stream over with as quickly as possible while having as much fun as possible, right? That's the best you can hope for in a stream. All right, so we're going to be departing out of LGA today, and we're going to be doing the LaGuardia 4, I believe, to the Robbinsville VOR. The Robbinsville VOR, the frequency is right there, 113.8. Once we get to Robbinsville, we're going to go outbound on the 238 radial from Robbinsville. 238 radial. And we're going to be on the Juliet 42 airway out of Robbinsville until we get to the Woodstown VOR. Woodstown VOR is on a frequency of 112.8. And we're going to be tracking inbound to the 057 radial. And let's see, is there a frequency swap over point? No, there isn't, but it's pretty straightforward. The distance between these two VORs is a short 50 nautical miles, so we're just going to switch frequencies about 25 nautical miles away from the Robbinsville VOR. Then from the Woodside or Woodstown VOR, we're going to go direct to the Baltimore VOR. So we're going to track outbound on the 257 radial from Woodstown to Baltimore. Baltimore is on a frequency of 115.1, and we're going to track inbound on. Actually, you know what? Well, yeah, we'll track inbound on the opposite of 257, which is oh boy, 077, if I remember correctly. So 077 inbound. All right, and then when we get to Baltimore VOR, we're going to track outbound on the 257 radial outbound. That actually will take us directly, more or less, towards this fix called Fergie. Fergie, for those of you who are big fans of the river visual approach, will probably recognize is an RNAV fix right there that basically is your entry point for the river visual approach. So that's where that more or less takes us to. So we're going to track outbound for 27 nautical miles, and that'll put us pretty much right at Fergie. So at that point, we'll have the Potomac River in sight, and we're going to follow that inbound. So that's our game plan today, folks. It should be a nice, fun short hop. You're going to be cruising at flight level 200, I think. Obviously, jet routes start at 18,000 feet and above, so we'll cruise at flight level 200, and that should put us sufficiently high enough, but not too high, so that we don't have to start our descent as soon as we begin our cruise, right? All right, let's go ahead and hop back into the XP11 platform here. Raptor Aviation, how's it going? Sorry I missed you there. Absolutely says you think you might try to pick up the Waco with that old gift card. Absolutely in Portland, the Waco is a mere 15 bucks, and as I'm going to show you later, they've patched it. So they have significantly patched it, and that really kind of improves the handling of the airplane, and I think now actually adds the tailwheel lock mechanism that I felt was not animated before. That's the reason I thought it wasn't there before. It just was not animated, I suppose. Anyway, it's just 15 bucks, and I think it's worth it for the price. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the checklist here, and we'll get things powered up in the airplane. All right, let's hop back here to the flight engineer station. If you haven't met our flight engineer slash check captain, that's this dude right here. That's this dude right here. We love having him with us. We love having him with us. All right, let's go ahead and power things up here. So let's get the battery on. Battery's coming on. There we go. Essential power to standby. Fantastic. Let's hop up to the overhead panel here. Let's get our navigation lights on. All right. Okay, let's hop back here and let's get our APU on. So auxiliary power unit can be powered up. Start. Just gonna hold that until I see an exhaust temporize there. There we go. Exhaust temporize. And the APU should be starting up. Boy, I gotta tell you, I love the way these lights flicker. It's amazing. Absolutely, the tailwheel physics are... We'll talk about it. They're still a little off, but they're not. They're a lot less RC car-ish. So my suggestion, they're absolutely, if you're willing to hold off until I do the flight, you can actually get to see firsthand what it's like. On the other hand, you know, it's not. So I'm just going to tell you right now. Obviously, it's not A2A level quality by any stretch of the imagination. It's not A2A level quality. It's never going to be A2A level quality, no matter how much they patch it, because Carenado does not have that expertise. But for the price, it's worth it. So if you're desperate to pick it up, I'd say pick it up. You know, if you want to spend that gift card, it's absolutely worth it for that gift card. Okay, there we go. Exhaust temp is stabilized. Let's go ahead and trip the fields here, or close circuits rather. There we go. APU is now powering the airplane. Awesome. All right. Let's continue through the checklist here. APU is on. Let's hop up here and do a stall warning check. That's up here, stall warning check. Let's go ahead and test it. Ooh, look at that, look at that. Listen to that sound. The stall warning test is doing what it's supposed to. Let me get the yokes back on, actually, so you can actually see the stick shaker working. I think I gotta zoom out like crazy. No, I can't do that even. Let's see if this even works. I'm not sure it's actually gonna work. There we go. Okay, I gotta hold it. Is the stick shaker working? No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not animated. Do I have to get this into... I just want to try and line... There we go. Okay, I'm just trying to get the brown down and the white up. At least I think that's what it's supposed to do. Anyway, stall warning check has been overdone here. Emergency exit lights armed. Passenger signs, let's go ahead and get them on right now. Why don't we? Passenger signs are coming on. No smoking signs coming on, so our passengers aren't smoking like chimneys in the back. Window heats can be turned on. Let's get the window heats on. And parking brake is set, right? Yeah, parking brake is set. Fantastic. Okay, radio radar transponder. I've set the frequency for the Robbinsville VOR 113.8 in nav 1, and I've set 112.8 for the Woodstown VOR in standby nav 1. Let's set Baltimore 115.1. Whoops. One second, let me pull up some chill music here. In the background, there we go. 115.1 can go in standby nav 2, there we go. And let's put in the Woodstown VOR in nav 2 active. There we go. All right. Okay, and before we go on to the engine star checklist here, let's quickly pull up the LaGuardia 4. Correction, LaGuardia 7. My God, they keep renumbering these, and I lose track of what the current numbering is. Let's put in LaGuardia 7 departure there. Edison, how's it going? Edison says, DC is your home airport. That is amazing, Edison. That's a lovely town, despite all the happenings recently that I'm sure everyone has seen in the news. It is a lovely town. I love DC. You know, especially the parts that aren't visited that often. DC is a great town. But nice town to be from, for sure. We're going to get some beautiful views of DC as we come in today. Absolutely, Portland. I'm definitely looking forward to that airplane heaven DC-3. Yeah, no, Portland. That makes sense about the being more of an airliner guy. Yeah, the airplane heaven. I cannot wait for it. That is going to be amazing. The previews look amazing for sure. They really, really do. I was so tempted to pick that up for P3D, but now that it's coming out for MSFS sometime soon, I'm definitely looking forward to picking that up. The one other aircraft type I'm really looking forward to picking up, by the way, one second here, let me just figure out just what we're doing right now. I wanted to pick up my weather at LaGuardia. Give me a second here to do that. Winds are out of the west. using historical weather, variable between 270 and 330. So we're going to depart. We're going to depart on runway 31 in that case. We'll depart in that direction. That will basically take us pretty nicely, you know, directly over uptown Manhattan there. And we'll get some gorgeous views out of the left side of the airplane of Central Park, Midtown, and downtown, and all that stuff on our departure. So that's going to be amazing. Let's take a look at the 3-1 departure procedure here for the LaGuardia 7. Very, very, very straightforward. We're going to climb on a heading of 314, or as assigned by ATC, and then we're going to maintain 5,000. So 5,000 feet, that's what I want to set in my... One second, I'm going to hide the yoke away once again. Since the stick shaker wasn't working, we don't need that anymore. Okay, let's set 5,000. There we go, 5,000 set. Let's go ahead and align the INS system just so we have a readout of... There we go. Okay, and 5,000 set, and I want to set a heading of 314, or bug a heading of 314 there. So I'm going to bug 314. Oh boy, 314. Am I really getting that old, and I'm having a hard time reading this gauge? I can't possibly get that old. I did really well in my last medical, so what is going on? Okay. I'm one of these people that still is sticking with getting a third-class medical, right, as opposed to going for basic med. I probably should consider basic med at some point in my future, though, because I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. Okay, 3027. Okay, 3027. There we go. All right, that's done. David Dempster, how's it going? Good to see you, my friend. And Super Typhon 173. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Absolutely. Super Typhon, yesterday we had a lot of fun. Some would argue far too much fun in the Cool Sky DC-9. We took advantage of some of the failure modeling in the Cool Sky DC-9 and discovered, to our horror, well, specifically my horror as a streamer, that failures can come in more flavors than are actually available in the aircraft operating manual, or listed in the QRH, or available with the add-on. Failures can include sim crashes, which knock on wood, I'm hoping doesn't happen today. X-Plane has been good to me, but the second I say that, you know, things can go horribly wrong, right? So 314 bug there, and then we want to fly direct to Robbinsville. So I'm going to tune in a radial that takes me direct to Robbinsville. But we had sim crashes, we had a whole bunch of other things, an unshaded panel lights not working, etc., that made our stream yesterday far, far too interesting. So the classics are amazing and all, but you just got to note that as amazing as the classics are, it can bite you. It can bite you. All right, here we go, 313, something like that. VX Free Flight Productions, how's it going, VX? Good to see you. VX, I've tried X-Plane in VR. I've got a super old Oculus Rift. I probably need to upgrade to a different, you know, like the Rift S or whatever the newest Oculus version is, or even like an HP Reverb or whatever the latest and greatest is, because that old Rift isn't cutting it. The thing is, I'm waiting until I can upgrade my graphics card whenever I can find the time to do that. And when I do that, then we'll go ahead and upgrade to a better you know, VR headset. At that point I can fully take advantage of VR, because my experience with VR has not been that great. I really have had to turn my settings down. By the way, that reminds me, I'm gonna turn my graphics reflection settings up. I had them turned down for the intro, but I think we can get away with turning them up a little bit. I'm gonna turn them up to there. The reflection settings, I've noticed, have the highest effect on stuttering in the sim. So folks, if you notice any stuttering during the stream, just let me know. I'll turn that back down, please. So just let me know as soon as you see any stuttering, and I'll turn that down. I wanted to set my altimeter 3027 in all of the altimeters here. So 3027 there, and then also on, you know what, forget the first officer. He doesn't exist. He doesn't get to have me set his altimeter for him. Okay. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is set my pressurization system here. So we're going to cruise at flight level 20,000. Let's set our cabin altitude to a comfortable 7,000 feet, something like that. Flight ground switch to ground. That's great. Let's go ahead and do our before start checklist here. Cockpit preparation completed. Anti-skid on. I always mix up the anti-skid in this plane and the DC-9. I think the anti-skid is... in the DC-9, it's up here. Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay, anti-skid is on. So anti-skid is this little sub-panel right here. And as long as the guard is closed, it's on. So that's great. Anti-skid is on. Stall warning was checked. Emergency exit lights were on. Passenger signs are on. Window heat was on. Anti-eyes closed. Flight instruments, altimeters, flight directors set and cross-checked. I'm going to set that to the heading bug. I'm going to set my flight director to about something like that. 12 degrees pitch up, maybe. Maybe slightly higher, actually. Actually, no, 15 degrees is fine. There we go. That's good. Is that 15? That's close enough, right there. There we go. That's good. All right, flight director set. Compasses synced, cross-checked. Radios, radar, transponder set and standby. Okay, where's the... Oh, transponder's up here. Weird position for a transponder right now. Start levers to cut off. Parking brake set. Rudder and aileron trim free, set 0. Let's set the stabilizer trim as well. Might as well while we're at it. Fuel. Fuel on board is, let's check real quick. We got about 19,000 pounds of fuel. In fact, yeah, that's good enough actually. We're going to be burning, this is a thirsty airplane. We're going to be burning a lot of fuel. Let's set our fuel pumps on here. All of them can come on. 2 on the left tank, 4 in the center tank, and then 2 on the right tank. So there's 1, 2, and 3 tanks, and each tank feeds individually to each engine unless you have the cross feeds open. And typically you want to run fuel off of, equally off of all 3 tanks. Unlike a lot of other airplanes where, you run the center tank dry first and then you run the wing tanks dry after. Portland, I'm going to answer that I'm going to have to think about that actually because I've forgotten. I've forgotten. What was it? What airplane was it I wanted to get? I've already forgotten, but it's going to come back to me, I promise. Okay, I've got sufficient PSI here for a start. That's great. Hydraulics interclosed. Pressure and quantity normal. Let's, yeah, ground interconnect is closed. Let's get the B system on as well. Might as well. Papers on board. INS to nav. Let's get the beacon on. Beacon coming on. Let's get the logo light on, wing light on as well. Might as well. And I'm going to change... Actually, we'll deal with that later. Fuel set for takeoff. Doors checked and... Actually, wait, never mind. Screw that. Forget about that. Sorry. I was going through the after start checklist. Hydraulic A pumps are on. Galley power is off. Packs are off, and start pressure checked. We have 40 psi, which is well about the 30 psi that we need. Okay, let's go ahead and request push here. So plugins, battery pushback, pre-planned pushback. We're going to push back facing the opposite direction. So, whoops, hold on. Delete segment, please. Yeah, there we go. We're going to push back to, let's push back to right about there, actually. We're going to push back to about there.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Oh, is that right, Portland? That's super interesting. I did not know about that. I did not know Milwis was working on that. That's going to be super cool to see that. Alright, pushback tug should be pulling up here momentarily. Where's the pushback tug? Did I say start pushback? I hope I did. Start pushback.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Okay. There it is. Okay, it's in the grass. It's on the other side of the fence. It's in the fence. You just gotta love scenery mismatches sometimes. Yeah, that tug driver is in the fence, folks. He's in the fence. He's mowing the fence down. And now LaGuardia is open to the masses. That should definitely improve the on-time departures here at LaGuardia from its typical rate, right? that should really improve on-time departures at LaGuardia. All right, I'm gonna adjust the sim time here. Just give me a second, because I wanted the touchdown in what's it called, in DCA right around the sunset, because I think it's gonna be beautiful.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed.
LaGuardia rate, exactly. Occupy LaGuardia, right? Just like you had Occupy Area 51 or whatever. Okay, so we're going to start up engines in sequence. I think it's the start sequence is 2, 3, and 1. So I'm going to unguard the start switch for engine 2, and we're going to start that one up first. Okay. Taking a while here.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, we're starting pushback. Let's go ahead and start up. Number 2 engine start, switch to ground. Gonna watch for N2 to come up. There's N2 coming up. Coming up on maximum motoring of approximately 20% there. Start lever to the idle detent. There we go. And we've got exhaust temps coming up. We got fuel flow, and we got N1 coming up. Alright, I'm going to try desperately to avoid a hung start this time around, like we had last time. That was my first time experiencing hung start in this airplane. That was cool, but also alarming, and also strangely invigorating to know that's actually a failure mode in this airplane that you can trigger by treating or mistreating the engines, right, during a start. Okay, looks like a good start there on number 2. Let's go ahead and start up number 3. Guard closed. Let's unguard the number 3 starter, and let's go ahead and go to ground on the number 3 starter switch. All right, once again, just gonna watch N2 come up there. As we come up on maximum motoring of 20%, there we are. Let's go ahead and move the engine start lever into the on position on number 3. And we got fuel flow, light off, exhaust temp rise, and N1 coming up. So if we're lucky, number 3 is not going to be the problem engine on this flight, like it was the last time we flew the 727. Okay, low oil pressure light has gone out there.
Set the parking brake.
Let's go ahead and set the parking brake. Awesome.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
And number 2 is stabilizing also. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and guard starter switch and unguard the number 1 starter. And let's go ahead and start up number 1. Okay, number 1 coming up. Okay, there's N2 coming up. As we come up on maximum motoring of approximately 20%. Let's go ahead and get the engine start lever into the idle detent. Yes, please, we'll disconnect and go to hand signals. Thanks for the push. All right. Light off, fuel flow, exhaust temps, and N1 coming up. Let's listen to the engine start up in the back there. Ooh, love the sound of these engines. And I gotta tell you, this livery is just amazing. I love this livery.
And bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time, and have a safe flight.
All right. And I think we got a good start on number 1 as well. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and guard the start switch on number 1. And let's go through our after start checklist here. All right. I've got the after start checklist in front of me, so I'm going to use that instead. All right, great. Let's go ahead and make sure our ground equipment is clear. Indeed it is. Hydraulic A-pump switches are on. Indeed they are. Fuel set for takeoff. All fuel boost pump switches are on. And Doors checked. Okay, let's go ahead and I wanted to do something here real quick, and that is let's go to Gen 1. There we go. Ooh, yes. So this is what I wanted to do last time, which is I wanted to set the frequency for these generators, and I think I do that by going there. How do I do this? There we go. Close. Okay. So I wanted to set it to 400 hertz. You see, the typical, like we talked about this yesterday, the frequency for these airline systems or these aircraft systems, the frequency that they require is like 400 hertz AC and about 150 volts AC as well. So I'm gonna gently tune this knob until I get 400 hertz. That's great. Okay, let's go to Gen 2. Whoops. Gen 2, there we go. Let's close the Gen 2 field. Whoops. And let's go ahead and adjust this until we get 400 hertz. I love this level of detail, I gotta tell you. Call me a nerd all you want, I love this level of detail. I really do. That's some amazing systems detail. Okay, so 400 hertz from all three engine generators. Let's go ahead and close the circuits. There we go. I love this old school terminology too, right? Closed circuits and trip circuits. Okay, that's good. All the engine generator switches are connected. Let's get the galley power on. And this is what tripped me up last time. Let's make sure we got the left and right packs on. So now the pressurization system can work and do its thing. Flight ground switch to flight. Duct overheat, that'll take care of itself, hopefully. That should take care of itself, hopefully. hopefully. We'll do our before takeoff checklist, obviously, before takeoff. You guessed it. All right, let's go ahead and stop the APU here. APU off, and our after start checklist is complete. Let's go ahead and start taxiing out here. Taxi light coming on, runway turn-off lights coming on. And folks, as always, in case I'm doing anything stupid, which tends to happen a lot more frequently than you would think, feel free to absolutely let me know. I was about to say not let me know, but I was like, I think they're going to take me seriously if I say that. So no, let me know if you see me doing anything stupid, which happens a lot more often than you would think. Just absolutely feel free to let me know. I'm very quickly here going to pull up my charts on my iPad. Folks, just give me a second here to do that. I've got them on, obviously I've got them on Avatab. I've got them on Avatab here, but it's good to have them on my iPad as well. So, okay, well, let's go back to that chart, the airport chart. So we're here at, since we're flying an old retro airplane, and this old retro livery, Northwest Airlines, doesn't have a home at this airport anymore. In fact, I don't think it ever had a home here. I'm not sure it ever counted LaGuardia as a destination. But since we're not supposed to be based here anymore, we've been banished to the wrong side of the field, where there are no gates, and we kind of have to find our own way around. So that's the reason we're here. Let's go ahead and taxi out here. So I've got my charts. Almost got my charts. 1 second. Just gonna pull up my taxi charts here. Let's go with the Avatab as well. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna pin my LaGuardia 7 departure procedure, and I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and pull up my airport chart on my iPad, and let's talk about the game plan here. So we're gonna taxi to hold short of runway 31 for departure via, let's see, Bravo. We'll take Bravo all the way around, actually, to Zulu. We'll hold short of 31 at Zulu for departure. And during the departure, we've already got our procedure. We're going to climb out on a heading of 314. Eventually, we'll pick up the Robbinsville VOR. We'll fly direct Robbinsville, and we'll stop our climb at 5,000 feet, and then we'll continue climb eventually to flight level 200, which is going to be our final cruise. All right, absolutely. Yes, yes, we made sure that we got those packs on. We absolutely did. Okay, let's get flaps 5 here. Parking brake released. There we go. Trim set, and let's do a quick brake check here as we start taxiing out. Brake check, there we go. And yeah, we'll We'll hop onto Bravo here, actually. So Bravo is right there. Actually, hold on a second. Is that Bravo? Yes, it is. There's Bravo, and the other side of Bravo is 0422. So, oh boy, well, yeah, Portland. I'm trying to think of what that. I'm trying to think of what that aircraft was that I had in mind that I'm really looking forward to. It should come back to. Oh, I know. Actually, it came back to me. Have you guys heard of a developer called AT Simulations? They make the Antonov 2. Why is there a Royal Jordanian 757 that just landed? Oh, because I've got live traffic on. That's why. Live traffic doesn't do the best job of model matching. So we're going to turn off live traffic. Aircraft displayed. There we go. That probably accounts for some of the stutters we had, right? Okay. Before takeoff checklist, we might as well do while we're taxiing out here. But AT Simulations makes the Antonov 2, which is this super cool old Russian biplane. In fact, the joke is that the Antonov 2 was the first electric airplane. It uses almost every system on the Antonov 2 is powered electrically. So it has electric oil cooler flaps. It's a big old radial engine, by the way. It's got a big old radial engine. And almost every system on the airplane, the flaps, the trim, the oil cooler flaps, the cowl flaps, all that stuff is electrically operated. So I've got the Antonov 2 for P3D from AT Simulations, and I absolutely love it. It's just such a weird, quirky, fun airplane to fly. And I got to tell you, I cannot wait until I cannot wait until that comes out for MSFS. That's an airplane as well, in addition to the Wing 42 Blériot 11 that I've been wanting to do a checkout flight in, and I figured I'd wait until we have an MSFS version before I do that. Yeah, that's going to be amazing for sure. I agree. All right. Let's check out the I Love New York sign over there. Look at that. Or welcome to New York with a heart in the middle. There you go. Yeah, again, this is a pretty nicely detailed scenery. It's so nicely detailed, you're going to get distracted every once in a while, and you might end up off the taxi lane. Okay, let's do our before takeoff checklist here. Anti-eyes closed. Pitot heat is on. Flight instruments, radio set for departure. Flight controls, let's do a flight control check here. Let's go full up, full down, full left aileron, full right aileron, and let's go full left rudder, full right rudder. Got to remember, I'm taxiing, and the rudders are actually connected to the steering a little bit, so we gave the folks in back a little bit of whiplash, but hey, that's the full Northwest Orient 727 experience, folks. That's what we're going to go with. That's the full Northwest Orient 727 experience. Ben Montgomery, holy cow, Ben, I haven't seen you in a while. How's life treating you, Ben? You're doing a flight now. In fact, you're taking SHT-8H Heathrow to Edinburgh. That's awesome, Ben. That's fantastic. Is this IRL or is this in the sim, out of curiosity? If it's IRL, what are you doing texting? It's probably right before your flight, I'm guessing. But I hope you're doing fantastic there, Ben. It's good to see you, my friend. We were just talking about you yesterday, or we were talking incidentally about failure scenarios, and I was mentioning our long overdue follow-up that's needed, at least on my part mostly, on a no failures anticipated stream together with you, with the FS Labs and the TOLAS. Oh, on Sim, awesome, Ben. Ben, are you streaming on Twitch right now, or are you just flying around? Either case, folks, give Ben a follow on his channel. Ben is a fantastic streamer. I hope that's the right command. Oh, actually, that command is not going to work because I don't have chatbot active yet. One second, let me get chatbot active, and I'm going to go through checklist while chatbot starts up here. Awesome, Ben. If that's the case, you know, I'll make sure to direct folks to your channel on Twitch. Folks, for those of you who don't know, Ben Montgomery, in addition to being a fantastic mod on our channel, also happens to be an equally, actually perhaps even more fantastic real world commercial Airbus driver. So he flies the... Boy, chatbot is taking forever to start up here. What's going on? 1 second. He flies the Airbus A320 series for an undisclosed airline in the UK. And he streams on Twitch, believe it or not. He streams on Twitch. I would strongly urge you to give him a follow on Twitch, but I just got to pull up the command that will direct you to his channel. So give me a second to do that. Boy, I'm super disorganized today in terms of getting things set up. And I've also got to figure out what the hell the command is for a shout out. Oh, there it is. Okay, boy, that's kind of a challenging command to work out. Okay, I don't know why I said that command, but that's the one. So hopefully that should work.
While I whip this out.
So the sound worked, but we don't have the... Oh, there it is. Okay, there you go. So make sure to give Ben a follow. He is a steely-eyed missile man and a fantastic all-around streamer, fantastic all-around person. Make sure to follow him if you're looking for some of that sweet Airbus A320 real-world wisdom there. Tail skid is the only thing on there. Okay, let's do our before takeoff checklist here. Flight controls checked, speed brake checked. Okay, stabilizer trim set. Flaps 5 degrees. We have green light for the slats. Galley power is auto. Oh, sorry, actually before that, I want to go through this in order. Auto brake to RTO. So auto brake RTO. There we go. And galley power is on. Electrical, no lights. Essential power to generator 3. There we go. Fuel heat is off. No need for fuel heat right now. Hydraulics pressure and quantity normal. APU is off. Flight ground switch to flight. Air conditioning and pressure. Number 2 bleeds closed. Set for takeoff. Okay. Engine 2 bleeds closed. And we're set for takeoff. Cockpit door is locked. EPR and airspeed buck set. Let's go ahead and redo that real quick. These speeds are going to be 126, rotate 126, and V2 138, so we got all that. And takeoff briefing essentially is completed. We're just going to take off, climb out on a heading of 314 to 5,000 feet, eventually pick up the Robbinsville VOR, tuned in, frequencies 113.8, and we're going to fly to the Robbinsville VOR. All right, folks, we're ready to go. Let's go. Start switches to flight. So that's up here. All of these go to Actually, wait, they just stay guarded, as far as I know. This might be from a different variant of the 727. Transponder Tara, strobes to landing lights can come on. Landing lights coming on. There we go. Strobes can come on. Taxi light, want me to turn off, it's going to be turned off, I think. CSD oil cooler off. Auto pack trip switch normal or cutout. Let's go ahead and get it into the cutout position since we can do either one. Where's that? There it is. It's already in cutout. That's great. Okay, before takeoff checklist is complete. And once again, since this tripped us up last time, just want to make sure that I've got the packs on. We've got good pressure there. So that is great. Okay, let's go ahead and taxi on. We'll get going. Folks, does anybody want to listen to live ATC, by the way, for the duration of this flight? Yeah, we'll get some live ATC going, actually. That's always fun to have in the background. Ben says you did a flight the other day on Sim. It was fun just to get streaming, flying the A350 tonight. Kind of like the A320. Awesome, Ben. Oh, I said you prefer the A320 to the A350, right? Is that... essentially, I'm guessing that's probably due to the quality of the mod, right? Is it flight factor that makes the A350 for X-Plane? How is that? I haven't heard the best things about it. You know, I can imagine it's a really difficult challenge getting those systems right? It's a super advanced airplane, IRL. So I can imagine it's probably a little tough getting the systems right. Okay. Alright, lights, camera, action, walking mode, Charlie. We're good to go here. Oh, I just meant to get a live ATC on. Give me a second here to do that. Let's look up LaGuardia, see if we got any activity. I'll just tune up approach here. Where is there we go. Actually, this is good enough. We'll just do departure. There we go. All right. Live ATC should be playing in the background. Let's get going here. Are we ready to go, folks? I'm ready to go. I hope you're ready to go. And let me know if the live ATC audio gets too loud or anything. Okay, just going to advance the throttles to about 1.4 E per. Let the engine stabilize. And let's go ahead and set takeoff power about 97.4% and 1. Okay, there we go. Takeoff power set, 80 knots. Yeah.
Rotate.
Okay, positive rate, gear coming up. Look at that airplane go. Oh, that's beautiful. That is just absolutely beautiful. Okay, gonna climb out of this heading here, climbing to flight level correction, climbing to 5,000 feet. Let's get the landing gear handle into the off position. Let's get flaps up. Actually, flaps to the 2 position. Let's go ahead and get the autopilot on at this point. Autopilot engaged. Heading select. Alt cell. IAS hold. There we go. And let's go ahead and accelerate to 250 knots. We'll set climb thrust. Climb thrust, I think, is about 92%. There we go. 250 knots. We're going to accelerate here. All right. Look at that. We're climbing out just over Central Park there. Flaps coming up. Or slats coming up, rather. Slats coming up. All right. Just over Central Park. Got Midtown over there. Downtown on the other side. That's just spectacular. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, we're coming up on 5,000 feet here. Let's go ahead and change our altitude to flight level 200, and we'll continue our climb to flight level 200 here. Okay, continue up to flight level 200. Let's find a course that takes us direct to the Robbinsville VOR. Okay, there's the Robbinsville VOR approximately. Set climb thrust there approximately 90 to 92% and 1. There we go. That's good. Okay, we're climbing up. Here we go. Let's go ahead and find a course that takes us direct to Robbinsville. That looks like a good course right there. Let's go into nav look mode in the autopilot. All right, just going to track direct to Robbinsville, and I'm going to get rid of the flight director pitch command and the flight director heading commands as well. All right, we're great. We're doing amazing. Just going to keep rotating that course until I find one that takes me direct Robbinsville. All right. Climbing out over, I believe we're already in New Jersey. Yes, we are. There's Teterboro Airport below us. And Teterboro, of course, is a massive, massive destination for all the business jets that fly into the New York City area for the most part, right? And you've got the Meadowlands there. There's the Meadowlands Sports Complex, where the Jets and the Giants play. And you've got Newark Airport over there. Let's do a quick tour of all the aviation destinations here in the New York City area. So LaGuardia, of course, that we just departed, is back there. That is well known for notorious delays and congestion and cramped quarters. There's Manhattan there. Beyond Manhattan is the neighborhood of Queens, and or at least I think it's the neighborhood of Queens on the other side. And you've got JFK in the distance. JFK, to quote Rachel from Crazy Rich Asians, is most well known for salmonella and despair. And then the less said about Newark Airport, which is over there, the better. So there you go, folks. There is your aerial tour of New York City's finest airports. All right, let's go ahead and hop back in here. We're already through 10,000. Need to keep track of what's going on. Let's climb out at 290. Actually, 280 knots should be good enough. Let's go ahead and get the landing lights off about 10,000. There we go. And we might as well get the seat belts off. And we'll get the no smoking signs off as well. It was the thing to do back in the day. Okay, tracking direct at Robbinsville VOR here, climbing up to flight level 200. Let's do our after takeoff checklist. No smoking, no seatbelt, no smoking and seatbelt sign off. Anti-eyes as required. Gear up and off, no lights. Flaps up, no lights. Autopack trim switch to cutout. Let's go back to the flight engineer station here. Make sure that the autopack trim lights are indeed in the cutout position. And we got low pressure on the forward boost bump switches. I'm not sure why. We're just going to turn those off. I'm guessing we don't need those anymore. Fuel quantity is all equal, so that's the inner marker going off. That always happens right around the Newark Airport area in XP11. I don't know why. You know, this high, you would think you wouldn't be picking up the inner marker for any airport, but I'm not sure why we're picking it up. We're picking it up. Okay, absolutely, that's what I heard as well. I heard they fixed it, so that is amazing if they have. Okay, continuing through the after takeoff checklist here. Hydraulics, pressure and quantity, normal. All right, pressure and quantity, normal. And let's see, what else? The checklist has us check the pressurization. Very, very important thing to do. Pressurization system is looking good. We do have a duct overheat on the cabin controller here. But I don't see anything too alarming, though, to be quite frank with you. I don't see anything too alarming. So I think we're good. Okay, we're good. So after takeoff checklist is complete. We're through transition there. Flight level, or correction, 18,000 feet is transition altitude. So I'm going to reset altimeters 29902. There we go. 29902. And let's go ahead and reset it on the standby altimeter as well. And once again, since our first officer is pretty much non-existent, I'm not going to worry about him. I lied. I'm going to worry about him just a little. I'm going to set that to 29902 because it's easy to do. It's right there. Okay, we've got 1,000 to go here as we come up on flight level 200. There's our altitude alert horn going off. So we're going to level off at flight level 200 as we come up on the Robbinsville VOR in the next 20 miles. Once we get to that VOR, we're going to track outbound on the 238 radial for 25 nautical miles. And then we're going to pick up the Woodstown VOR and track the 057 radial inbound like we discussed earlier. So let me show you that here real quick. Altitude capture mode there, armed. Let's back off the throttle a little bit. We'll cruise it, you know, maybe around 330 to 350 knots, something in that range. Don't need to go too fast. We do want to talk about the approach procedure and all that jazz after all, right? Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the chart once again, Sky Vector. Okay, here we go. All right, so as I mentioned, once we get a Robbinsville VOR, which is right around there, what we want to do, actually it's right around here, what we want to do is hop on the Juliet 32 airway, 238 radial for 25 nautical miles, then we'll pick up the Woodstown VOR 057 radial inbound for another 25 nautical miles. Then we'll go the 257 radial outbound from Woodstown VOR until we pick up the Baltimore VOR at about 35 nautical miles out from Woodstown. Then we'll track inbound on the 077 radial to Baltimore. At Baltimore, we'll go outbound once again, the 257 radial towards the Fergie intersection, which is, pretty much leads us right over the Potomac for the River Visual 19er. So that is basically the plan. Relatively straightforward today. We want to start our descent, by the way. Let's take a look real quick. We want to start our descent. We're descending from flight level 200 down to 3,000 feet. So we've got to lose 17,000 feet of altitude. So we need at least 51 nautical miles. I'm going to add a fudge factor on there of 10. So we want to start our descent about 61 nautical miles out from Fergie, right? So Fergie is 27 from Baltimore. So 61 minus 27 gives us 34. So 34 miles out from the Baltimore VOR is when I want to start my descent down to 3,000 feet. So that's going to be our plan. All right, folks. Let me catch up on chat here real quick. I'm sure I missed a ton. Absolutely was saying Carenado fixed the Waco yaw issue on rotation. They made the handling a bit better for sure. I agree with that. They've definitely made the handling a bit better. There is still a bit of a yaw issue, I feel, but it's not as bad as it was before. But then again, I haven't had a chance to play around with it too much in earnest, so we're going to find out later today. Portland says crazy that there's a freeware group trying to do the... Whoops, sorry, I meant to go back to the XP11 window. Portland says crazy that there's a freeware group trying to do the A350 for MSFS. Speaking of the systems completely. Oh, there's the... now we want to track outbound in the 238 radial, so I'm going to tune that in. We just passed the VOR. This is what happens when you go into external cam. You totally forget where you are. And a very short 25 nautical miles out is when I want to switch frequencies. So that's something important to note. Actually, let's go back to that one, just so I keep an eye on the DME readout from Woodstown there. But that's super interesting. I did not hear about the A350 there, Portland. Do you mean the A380? Because I know, what's their name? Fly-by-Wire, which does the mod for the A320. Apparently they were thinking about doing an A380 freeware as well. So I'm not sure if maybe the A350 is completely separate from that. But either case, my God, I gotta tell you, the freeware workings, the freeware going-ons, development going-ons that are going on in the in the MSFS world are really quite something. It really is quite spectacular just how much wonderful freeware development is going on in the MSFS world. There really is an amazing community out there for sure. Yeah, totally. I totally agree about the number of crowdsourced, large freeware projects like you said there, Portland. Absolutely. Ben was saying you're having issues with the Zibo. Oh boy, I'm sorry, Ben. I hope you get them sorted out. I have the Zibo. I just haven't flown it in years, I feel. Or months. I've got the PMDG as well, and so, boy, those wings are flapping, aren't they? Look at that. There's a fair bit of turbulence up here at altitude. Those wings are flapping around. What is the story here? Look at that. We're right at flutter there. I'm going to back off the throttle a little bit so we don't end up taking the wings off the airplane. I'm going to back off the throttle. We'll slow down to like 300 knots or something. I think might be getting close to overstressing the wings there. I mean, we're still well below barber pole and red line there. Red line is like closer to 390, actually 410 knots is red line. But either case, I'm going to back off just to be prudent here. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a flapping bird. It's a flapping wing airplane. That's what it is. It's a flapping wing airplane. It's a starship. It's a starship, folks. That's what it is. Doesn't the starship have little flappy thingies too? Did you hear what they're calling the flaps in the starship? They're calling them Elon-arons. Elon-arons. I love that. Let's do a quick flyby here. Or a slow flyby. Man, I gotta tell you, I really do love this livery. It is a spectacular livery. Okay, so it might actually have been, well, it's still doing it. You know what, we'll pretend it's not happening. Oh wait, actually I gotta swap frequencies here. So let's go ahead and go into the turn now mode, there we go. And let's go to swap frequencies now to the Woodstown VOR. We're gonna go inbound on the 057 radial, which is 237 course. And let's go back into nav log mode. There we go. Okay, we're 20 nautical miles out from Woodstown. And we're tracking inbound on the 057 radial. We're going to be at our top at descent in absolutely no time whatsoever, folks. Let's go ahead and close off the LaGuardia charts, because we don't need those anymore. We're down to LaGuardia, and misconnections, salmonella, all the despair that comes with New York City airports. I don't know how many folks in chat have watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians, but I can't possibly be the only one that cracked up as loud as you possibly could in the theater when Rachel, who's played by the same person who plays the mom in Fresh Off the Boat, right? When she goes to Singapore Changi for the first time, and she's like, Singapore Changi Airport has a butterfly garden and whatever else they have. JFK just has salmonella and despair. I was just cracking up like you wouldn't believe. Because it's true. That's why I was cracking up. All right, let's go ahead and speed up a little bit here as we come up on Woodstown. All right, let's talk about our arrival today. So we're going to do the river visual 1-9er. The winds certainly seem to work for the river visual today. So it's a visual approach procedure. The reason this crazy twisty turny track exists, right, is because the two prohibited areas around the Naval Observatory and the National Mall there. So our course today is pretty much going to take us almost directly to Fergie. So once we've got the Potomac River in sight, we're going to continue descending down at 3,000 feet. We're going to track inbound just to the east of the American Legion Memorial Bridge there. And I'm going to have for added guidance here, I'm going to have the Washington DCA DME tuned in on nav 1, 111.0. So 10 DME out, recommended altitude is 3,000 feet. Then we can follow the Potomac, continue to descend down to 1,800 feet at around 6 DME, right over the chain bridge there. Want to continue until we're abeam the Georgetown Reservoir, around 4 DME from DCA at 1,500 feet. And then we can continue to cross the Key Bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, 3 DME at 900 feet. At that point, we're going to do our super challenging final couple of twists and turns here, right next to the National Mall, over the Arlington Memorial and Roosevelt Memorial Bridges, and then our final turn over the George Mason and Rochambeau Memorial Bridges. The altitude I want to cross the Rochambeau Bridges is about 300 feet, and then I could roll out and final for 1-9er at Washington National. So that is our game plan. That's our approach briefing, basically. There is the VOR that we just passed over. Let's track outbound now on the 25. What was it? 253, I think, right? Or is it 257? 257 radial outbound. So let's tune in 257 there. There we go. And there we go. Airplane's turning. That's fantastic. About 30 nautical miles out, let's say I'm going to switch frequencies to the what do you call it? To the Baltimore VOR. So there we go. Okay, we're going to follow that radial outbound now from the Woodstown VOR. All right. James 2 says you really enjoyed Fresh Off the Boat. You found it refreshing. It's a really good TV show for sure. That's a fantastic show. I haven't seen the recent episodes though, or any of the past couple of recent seasons, to be honest. I loved the show when it first came out. I just haven't had a chance to follow up on it, though. You know, the problem these days, right, is that we have so many amazing streaming shows out there. And boy, I got to tell you, between Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, it is so hard to keep up with all the latest and greatest shows on the interwebs and on TV these days, right? It's so hard to keep up with all the best TV shows. I don't know what all y'all favorite TV shows are, but for me, right now, I've got a couple of obviously, you know, The Mandalorian on Disney Plus just keeps getting better. Not just with every season, it just keeps getting better with every episode, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next season. The finale for The Mandalorian season 2 was just mind-blowing. I mean, did you see some of the reactions to the internet? That's how everybody, you know, that I know was responding to it. It was just an amazing ending to the season. And then the other show I'm super hooked on to is The Expanse on Amazon Prime. The season finale for season 5 of The Expanse is on Tuesday, and boy, that's going to be a hoot from the previews. And yeah, there's no shortage of like really amazing shows out there these days, right? Just some really amazing ones out there. Okay, I'm going to put in 111.0 there in nav 2, just so I have that for reference. 111.0. Okay, there we go. And we're about 51 miles out here from Baltimore. I want to start my descent, what was it again? I want to start my descent 61 minus 27, which was 35 miles out from Baltimore is when I want to start my descent. All right, folks. Yeah, totally, James. Yeah, I can't wait for some of the spin-off series for sure. You know, I think like the Ahsoka Tano's show is going to be really promising. I think for sure, you know, the choice of Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka Tano was actually a really good one, I think. She really plays a really good older version of her, I think. You know, it's kind of the way I would have pictured her if she reappeared when she was older. She certainly plays, you know, her in a very believable manner for sure. So one thing I wanted to do here, folks, was I wanted to set my speed bugs for landing. We're going to do a flaps 30 landing. VREF is going to be 119. The winds right now are mostly calm at DCA. Visibility is 10 statute miles. Clouds scattered at flight level 250. Temperature 03. Dew point -12. Altimeter is 3033. So yeah, our final approach speed is going to be 124 knots. VREF +5. And we're going to bug flaps 30. All right. Yeah, I can't wait for the Ahsoka Tano show. The other show I can't wait for is the Boba Fett spinoff that they're doing. That's just going to be so badass, you know. It's going to be amazing. There's some great content on TV these days. You know, I got to tell you though, my favorite TV show last year, it actually wasn't really even a TV show. It was a mini-series, essentially. It was just like a one-season series from Alex Garland, you know, who made movies like Annihilation and, oh my god, what was the one with the AI thing? I forget, but he made a couple of incredible movies, like science fiction movies, and he made a TV series about quantum computing. And it starred Nick Overman, believe it or not. Nick Overman of Ron Swanson Parks and Rec fame was in it. And it had Sonia Mizuno, I think, was her name. She was also in one of the movies that Alex Garland directed. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked here. Devs was the name of the TV show. It was on Hulu, and it was just amazingly well done. You know, it was so different from any other science fiction show I've ever seen. Can't recommend it highly enough. That was an amazing TV show. Okay, we're at our top of descent here. Let's go ahead and start our descent. let's go ahead and go into vertical speed mode, and we'll start our descent here. Okay, starting our descent. And we'll descend down to 3,000 feet here. So I'm going to set 3,000 in the altitude selector. There we go. Let's go back to alt cell. And actually, let's go into IAS hold mode during the descent. We'll descend at about 280 knots initially, or maybe even, yeah, 280 should do it until we get down to 10,000. And then we'll descend at flight level, then we'll descend at 250 knots once we get at 10,000 feet. All right, we're doing great here. Let's go ahead and switch frequencies now to the Baltimore VOR. So let's go back to the turn knob mode, back to the Baltimore VOR, and we want to track inbound on the 077 radial, which is essentially this this course. So back into nav loc mode, and we'll track this radial inbound to Baltimore. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, we're true transition there. Altimeters can be reset 3033. 3033 set, and that altimeter, let's set it in the standby altimeter. All right, there we go, and we'll forget about the first officer as usual. Okay, let's go ahead now and let's do our descent and approach checklist. Okay, seatbelt sign can be turned on. Let's get the seatbelt and no smoking signs on. Let's set our auto brakes to, let's do auto brakes medium for landing today. There we go. Anti-eyes closed for now. Landing lights, we'll come back to it once we're below 10,000. Auto brakes set to medium. Radio altimeters, we don't need that because it's a visual approach today. So we don't need to set our bugs or anything. Flight instruments, FDS radios set. EPR airspeed bug set for landing. So once again, let's make sure we got the correct bug set here. VREF 119, final approach speed of 124, that's set. And fuel set for landing. Let's get all our boost pump switches on though. Still a little unclear about the low pressure light there. Okay, now it went out, but I think it's going to come back eventually, right? Because I had it on earlier, the low pressure light was on. Anyway, that's set for landing. Hydraulics, pressure and quantity normal. Pressurization and cooling ducts set. Okay. Everything is set properly. We've done our descent and approach checklist. Okay, we're coming up on the Baltimore VOR here. Let's see if we can spot Baltimore below us. Is that Baltimore down there? I think it is, right? Actually, maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit further ahead. Yeah, it's a little bit further ahead. I think that's the inner harbor of Baltimore up there, right? If I'm not mistaken. All right. Sector RBLX. Sorry I missed you. How you doing, Sector? Thanks for hanging out today. James says you're gonna have to watch all of them. Exactly. There you go, James. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. The future of Star Wars, I gotta tell you, is a lot brighter than I would have predicted a couple of years ago. And it's really interesting that it was the Mandalorian that changed all that, right? It really is quite something that that was the TV show that changed it all. Okay, let's see if we can pull up the DCA Potomac approach live ATC feed there. All right. Check out another flyby there. Ooh, that looks good.
Delta 2164, 1 mile from Castro, and turn left heading 040, maintain 2,500 till south, look left, clear eye, left runway 1 approach.
So they're landing on the ones right now because the winds shifted around to the north currently, and I think currently it's snowing actually. The weather is not that great, unfortunately, at DCA, like I mentioned. That's why I'm using historical weather. where it actually favors a landing on a 1-9er and favors us doing the river visual, which will be fun. Yeah, totally, James. I totally agree with that. Okay, descending through 11,000 there. Oh boy, I hope we didn't have an ActiveSky weather update. No, we didn't, thankfully. It's still favoring a landing on 1-9er. Okay, let's go ahead and slow down now to 250 knots as we come up on 10,000 feet. There we go. And we're coming up on the Baltimore, actually we're just over the Baltimore VOR right now. Let's tune in a course of 257 outbound. So that'll take us to the Fergie intersection more or less. And let's go ahead and get the speed brake out actually. Oops, there we go, that'll help. Because we got to descend in a hurry. We've got the Potomac River up ahead. You can kind of see it in the distance. So I want to be at 3,000 by the time I get over the Potomac River, and then we can track the river inbound at 3,000.
Southwest 4042, proceed direct Raven, cross Raven at 6,000.
Okay, there's 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get the landing lights on. And I might as well get the taxi and turn off lights on right now, otherwise I'm going to forget later. All right. Alright, we're continuing to descend here. We've got another 20 miles here to descend down to 3,000. That's great. By the way, what is the stream quality like? I don't know if I missed this earlier, but were there any stuttering issues at all when we were leaving New York earlier? Like I mentioned, I turned the reflection settings up, and I always get a little concerned when I do that if the stream quality might go down, especially in terms of the frame. So I'm wondering if anybody noticed any stuttering during the stream. If so, let me know and I can... It's good, says James and Portland. That's awesome. Thank you both. That's good to hear. I don't know if you guys remember, but back during the summer, I think we did the river visual in the 727 once, and and I didn't realize this until we started doing replays of our landing at DCA. We had a ton of stuttering, so that was nuts. Okay, there we go. Alright, speed brakes retracted, and now we can descend at a more comfortable, stately pace here, down to 3,000. Alright, fantastic. By the way, who's up for group flying in MSFS after this? I'm going to hop over to Boca Chica in Texas. That's the site of SpaceX's launch facilities, and we'll check out whatever they have in MSFS in terms of the autogen scenery for that area. It actually is relatively good. You know, they actually have an older version of the SpaceX launch pad. Not with all the, you know, 3D facilities and all that stuff, obviously, but it's still pretty good, you know? It's still really quite good. So we're going to go check that out, and then, you know, we're going to fly the Waco around there. We might land on a beach or something, and at that point, what we're actually going to do is we're going to hop into Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. I've been talking about the simulator on my stream for months, if not more than a year. And I kind of thought it'd be a good opportunity to just kind of showcase Orbiter Spaceflight Sim, which is a completely freeware simulator for spaceflight. It does a really good simulation of orbital mechanics and, you know, orbits, transfer orbits, all that jazz. And somebody came up with a Starship mod for Orbiter Spaceflight Sim. So we'll do a launch of Starship in Orbiter Spaceflight Sim. At Boca Chica once we land there in the Waco. So that could be fun. Will Dewey, hello to you, Will. How are you doing today? It's nice to see you on a stream. Okay, I'm going to set my bug here to my landing speed of around 124 knots. There we go. That's good. All right, and there's the Potomac River over there. We got that in sight. That's fantastic. Once again, right, we're going to come up on Fergie there, 3,000 feet. Actually, you can see a little airplane there showing where we are right now in relation to the field. So as we come up on Fergie, we're going to go ahead and turn left over the Potomac and fly over the Potomac, and we'll just follow the procedure as we discussed in the chart earlier. So let's go ahead now and let's go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. Autopilot disconnected. I love that sound. And let's go ahead and overfly the Potomac here. So we got our DME readout there from, actually 1 second, 111. There we go. We got our DME readout there from the DCA VOR DME. So we're going to just turn left here to overfly the Potomac. I'm going to slow down to 180 knots at this point.
Air Shuttle 6026 Potomac, line maintain flight level 210.
Let's extend the slats. And I've got I think the chain bridge up ahead. Yeah, there it is. There's the chain bridge up ahead. Let's go flaps 5. And we'll descend down to 1,800 feet. That's our next altitude constraint, or recommended altitude rather, on this approach. James 2, that is a great question. We're going to be violating TFRs actually. We are, if anybody that wants to join the group flight, we're going to be violating TFRs. So I hope you're ready for all the consequences that come with that. Let's get the gear down here so we can help slow ourselves down a little bit. And yeah, we're going to descend down to about...
Brickyard 4932, 1005.
1,800 feet here. As we come up about 60 ME. Then our next altitude constraint is 1,500 at 60 ME. Okay. Recommended altitude, rather. Okay, gear is down, 3 green. Let's go flaps 15 there. And we'll continue descending down to about 900 feet there by 3 DME. And shallow my rate of descent a little bit here. I'm going to trim it out. And let's slow down our final approach speed at this point. Let's go flaps 20. Let's go flaps 25 and flaps 30. Okay, let's lower landing checklist. Landing gear down 3 green, auto brake set to medium, spoilers armed. Flaps 30, green light, landing gear down 3 green. Checked again, and yeah, landing checklist is complete. All right, folks, you ready? I'm ready. Let's see how we do here.
1,000.
All right, we got the infamous Watergate Hotel up ahead of us. And we got the National Mall there. There's the Washington Monument and Capitol Hill up ahead. All the museums in the mall there. That's beautiful. All right. Final approach speed about 124 knots. Going to start turning right here. We're going to hug the eastern shore of the Potomac here before we start our final turn. And I'm aiming to be at about 300 feet there over the Rochambeau Bridge on our final turn. That should put us right on the Pappies if you're lucky. So this approach is kind of challenging because you're initially a little steep on the on your rate of descent, but then you got a shallower rate of descent right on this final stretch here before getting it back to a more normal rate of descent. Okay, we're doing great here. Just gonna hug the eastern shore there without ending up violating prohibited airspace. Let's go ahead and start gently turning to final. Oh, look at that. We got good indications in the Pappies there. Beautiful. One red, one white. But we're slightly overshooting, though. I started my turn a little bit late there, it looks like.
413, 2000.
All right.
100.
Flight level 190.
All right, this is working out nicely.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
All right, there we go. Nice smooth touchdown. Speed brakes deployed. Spoilers in reverse, or spoilers in reverse. Reversers in reverse. And there's 80 knots. Out of reverse. Let's get on the brakes there. Manual braking. All right. And we'll exit on the next taxiway after this one. All right, folks. River Visual 19er complete in this beautiful, beautiful Northwest Orient colors. Oh man, I love this livery. Can't wait to watch the replays of that landing. Okay, speed brakes retracted. Let's go ahead and exit here on Alpha. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling plenty alpha after that landing. That worked out pretty well. All right, let's go ahead and I'm doing well, Will. Sorry I missed your question. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. I'm doing even better after that sweet landing there. All right. So we're actually not going to taxi in, folks. Let's just go ahead and jump into replays. That way we can get done with this segment of the flight and hop into MSFS for the next segment of our stream as quickly as we can. All right, so let's pull up the replay window. Alt-R, that's how I do that. And let's go ahead and scroll back a little bit. We'll bring it all the way back to start of the approach. Just as we come up on the chain bridge there. Okay, there we go. That's great. All right. All right, we'll watch this landing here. James, too, says you went back to Zibo after ages without flying it. Yeah, I can imagine that'd be a challenge. You know, it's always difficult, especially when it comes to some of these more, esoteric, unique types of airplanes, like 727 especially, where if you haven't flown in a while, it's super hard to remember the position of the switches, that sort of thing. Back then, like aircraft designers didn't necessarily have human factors and ergonomics in mind, when they designed panels and switch positions and things like that. James 2 says you really need to start learning the 727. Oh yeah, the 737-200 from FlyJSim is another really, really good one. I've got that aircraft as well, and I just absolutely love it. It's fantastic. By the way, speaking of the FAA and Starship, that's kind of an interesting situation, isn't it? I'm wondering what people make of it. Because, it almost feels like it's really kind of weird, right? Because they had no problems with SN8, it looks like. And then all of a sudden, they've got all these issues with the launch of SN9. I don't know. I think, us private pilots, right, or those of us in the pilot community have a saying, which is the FAA's mission statement is, we're not happy unless you're not happy. We're not happy until you're not happy. That's the FAA mission statement. in the view of most pilots, at least back in my day when I was getting my license, right? So you got to wonder, how much this is just, some kind of bureaucrat at the FAA, flexing some bureaucratic muscle a little bit. Oh my God, I love this approach. There's the Watergate Hotel down there. We got the Lincoln Memorial up there. Look at that. And you got the Washington Monument, the National Mall with all the museums there. The White House is on the left. Over there, you can sort of make it out. And you got Capitol Hill on the other side of the mall there. I don't know, James. That's a good question. I'm not sure, what it was for. Basically, so, the FAA has a commercial private space division, or whatever they call it, and that is responsible for licensing these launches. And, oh wow, look at this. that is what's responsible for licensing these launches, right? And for whatever reason, they didn't want to approve the launch of the SN9 unless certain, until they were satisfied with certain paperwork. They didn't quite explain, or certain, certain requirements. They wanted to be satisfied with SpaceX's compliance with certain requirements, but they didn't quite quantify or even qualify, explain what those requirements were. So it's left a lot of people very confused as to what exactly is going on between SpaceX and the FAA. Oh, that worked out super nicely. I'm super happy with that one. Will says same with the Civil Aviation Authority in the UK, from which I've experienced, they really aren't in the best interests of private pilots. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think some people were saying, well, after the Boeing MAX fiasco, maybe the FAA is trying to make sure that they're much more visible in the public eye about, enforcing rules, right? But, the difference between Boeing and SpaceX is a tiny little player in the larger scheme of things, I mean, they're huge in the public imagination, obviously, SpaceX, given everything they've accomplished. But, basically they're the little guy, when it comes to corporations in aviation, right? And so it's kind of one of these, the FAA has different standards, right, for how they work with large corporations in aviation versus how they work with regular folks, especially private pilots, and how they work with smaller companies as well. So I don't know, it's just strange what's going on. Anyway, hopefully they get it resolved. They both have jobs to do. Hopefully they get it resolved. All right, let's pull the controls up here. Let's watch another replay. I wanted to do a tower view here. Tower view, I think, is Shift+5, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, here we go. Is it shift fly? Yes, it is. Okay, this is going to be beautiful. That's the National Cathedral up there. I think that's the Georgetown area there, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, James, it really is. DC is an amazing city. Artwork porn. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while there, Artwork. I hope you're doing fantastic. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Will says you were going to be in DC last Easter, but couldn't due to COVID. It looks great in the same. It's a beautiful city, Will. Have you ever been there before? If not, you're going to love it when you eventually do make it over. It is a beautiful city. And the nice thing about DC is all the museums are free. Pretty much all of them are free. So, it's just, there's the White House there. Look at that. And you got the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial down there. There's the tidal basin on the other side between the Washington Monument and the Jefferson Basin there. Oh, they've got the new African American, what's it called? The museum, that museum, that recently opened there. I'm trying to remember what it's called again. The African American Museum or Museum of African American. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But there's Capitol Hill over there. Look at that. That's super cool. Yeah, a lot of history for sure. Tremendous amount of history. It's just an amazing place. Whenever we would visit, obviously, if we had time, we'd check out the National Air and Space Museum. That's always a fun place to visit, right? And the nice thing about the National Air and Space Museum, it's right next door to, let's see if I can show you this during the replay. It's right next door, the National Air and Space Museum is, to let's see if we can spot it here on... Yeah, so there's the National Air and Space Museum there. So you see the Smithsonian Museum. It looks like a castle. It's actually called the Smithsonian Castle, I believe. It looks like a castle with a lot of red spires. The National Air and Space Museum is on the other side of that. And then on the other side of that, right next door, is the Native American Museum. And that place has a really nice cafe in the basement with some amazing, Native American food. So we would always go to that museum for lunch, and we'd have lunch there during our visits to the National Air and Space Museum. Beautiful, though. World War II memorial there. There's the Lincoln Memorial there.
descend to maintain 2,500.
This is the tidal basin, by the way, right here. So during cherry blossom season, you know, like I think April, that time of year, right? April, perhaps even part of May. During cherry blossom season, the tidal basin is where you see all those famous pictures of all the cherry blossoms along this waterfront here, right? Or along this this sort of like watery area. Those pictures are right here, the tidal basin. So all these trees are cherry trees. There's the Jefferson Memorial once again. Yeah, beautiful place.
1 mile from Catherine, turn west, heading 040, maintain 2,500 northbound southwest Lavender, clear eye left runway.
Willis has been thinking of going later this year, combined with an Oshkosh. Oh my God, that's going to be amazing there. Will, hopefully Oshkosh does indeed occur as planned, and you do get to visit the U.S. and the TBM, and you know, check out all the awesome sites around here. That's going to be amazing. Yeah, you're going to love DC for sure there, Will.
07, direct Raven, cross Raven at 6,000.
I feel like that sound is due to the auto brake kicking in, because I've noticed that, you know, I don't really hear that same sound if I have the auto brake disabled on touchdown. I did a touch and go the other day here, and I don't remember hearing that sound in the replay. Yeah, that worked out pretty nicely though. Is there any other kind of view anybody wants to see before we hop into MSFS, folks? Otherwise, we'll hop into MSFS pretty quickly here. I think we might do a wing view or two, right? 1 second. Actually, let's do a belly cam. There we go. You can see the tail skid there. That's what you're looking at. That's better. I'm doing great artwork. Thanks for asking. I'm doing fantastic. I missed that earlier from James about the comment about loving free culture. Flapping wing view. Yeah, we can check out a flapping wing view as well, for sure. I have to set up a wing view because I realized I don't have one saved. Yeah, so I started that turn just a couple of seconds late, and that's why we overshot here. But it worked out reasonably well. Will says, yep, that's all assuming COVID is sorted out. You would also like to get an FAA PPL and instrument rating for some future flying purposes. So might do a mega combined trip. Yeah, that's going to be amazing, Will. Why would you want to get the FAA combined? Do you mean converting your UK PPL to an FAA PPL there? Will, is that what you mean? Or do you mean doing your instrument training in the US? Ooh, that looked pretty good. Okay, we got to set up a quick wing view here, so give me a second to do that. And I'm sorry, folks, I know that's super loud back here. But hey, you know, you wanted that authentic 727 whisper jet experience, so hey, it's not on me. It's on you for wanting that experience. Okay, this is a good angle, I think. Oops, hold on. Okay.
10 miles from Catherine, cross Catherine at or above 2,500, cleared eye left runway 1 approach.
Alright, this is a good angle. He's slightly further back. Yeah, there you go. Artwork, hey, no worries at all, artwork. No worries at all. It's all good. Who wants to join, by the way, for a potential group flight in... I'm going to be flying the Waco, because I felt like, you know, like I mentioned yesterday, I felt like in our Wednesday stream in the Waco, I just didn't do it justice, because I failed to update it. There was a patch that was already released that addressed a number of the issues that I brought up with the Waco, and so I figured let's go ahead and redo a little bit of flying in the Waco where I actually do it justice this time, versus you know maybe putting a bunch of unfair things out there about it like I did last time without the benefit of actually flying it with the patch. Wow, look at this. Oops, hold on. Sorry. There we go. There's Capitol Hill, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial down there, Tidal Basin there. Will says plan would be to do instrument training in the US for some flying in the future. You would rather have an FAA instrument rating more available, especially since the UK left EASA. Oh my god, I'm sorry to hear about that, Will. Yeah, you know, Brexit, you know, I don't want to get into politics, obviously, and I'm sure you know far more about this than I do, Will, but it's just one of these things that just feels like, in retrospect, I feel like a lot of folks are probably going to see it as maybe not the best decision in the world, right? But, you know, I don't want to get into that, right? I don't know enough about it. But, you know, there's a lot of these things, unfortunately, that you do end up losing, right? So, and Greenland is on the N registry. Interesting, I did not know that, Will. So are all airplanes in Greenland registered as, do they all have N numbers in that case? That's super interesting if that's the case. So Greenland officially is a part of Denmark, correct? Our aircraft, I'm guessing in that case they have EASA certification in Greenland, correct? Or is there some kind of special arrangement when it comes to Greenland, where maybe there's some kind of like more FAA type authority? I'm not sure. I'm kind of curious how that works. Wow, that looked pretty cool, didn't it? That looked really amazing. All right, one final replay, and then we'll head into MSFS, folks. I wanted, so as I mentioned, I just absolutely love this livery, right? So I wanted to get some shots where we can fully admire the livery. So give me 1 second here to figure out where those shots are. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. All right. Wow, look at the detailing here. Whoever painted this did an amazing job. Really did an amazing job, whoever painted this. And of course, the full underside of the fuselage is bare metal, right? So that looks amazing. Northwest Orient Airlines Fanjet, look at that. That's super cool. Oh, got it, Will, okay. Okay, because you had me going on a complete tangent there. I was like, wait, do they have N numbers in Greenland? That is super cool, if so. Wow, look at that, though. That's super cool, isn't it? Look at the reflection effects from the sun. Oh my god, that is amazing. Wow, that looks spectacular. Artwork, absolutely. Enjoy your coursework, my friend, as best you can, and have a good time at work as well. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. We'll catch you next time. Wow, I just look at the rivet. You can see every single individual rivet too. Look at the riveting on here. Like every single individual rivet is modeled. I'm gonna go back to that angle. Look at that. You can see all the rivets on the fuselage. That is just spectacular. It's OY XXX. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot more sense than N numbers. I don't know why I thought that. Nice. Wow, look at that, man. That looks spectacular, doesn't it? All right, folks, let's jump into MSFS here. I think we're all replayed out, don't you think? All right. Let me go ahead and pull up the controls. Alt-R, okay. Replay done. Let's go ahead and close off. Let's go ahead and close off XP11 here. So I'm going to go to the Be Right Back screen there. There we go. I'm going to quit XP11, going to load up MSFS, and we'll do a little flying in MSFS in the Waco. So let's see. We're currently at 1 hour and 55 minutes into stream. So tell you what, I was thinking about going to 2 different locations potentially, like Sonoma County, or potentially even a viewer's choice. If there's a place anybody wants to see in FlyJSim that we can fly the Waco in, you know, if somebody desperately wants to see some place, we could do that real quick before we actually what do you call it, go to Boca Chica and check out the SpaceX launch facilities modeling in Boca Chica, Texas in MSFS. Just going to load up Flight Simulator there, so Flight Simulator should be loading up. And I'm going to go to the MSFS collection of scenes. Give me a second here to do that. Sorry, the screen's going to do some strange things here. It's going to go blank. And now hopefully you can hear my voice again. It's probably still blank, but I'm going to go back to the Be Right Back screen. And let me know if you guys can still hear me. Hopefully y'all can. All right. Okay, now we're in the Be Right Back screen there. MSFS is loading up. That is fantastic. Absolutely, artwork. You go enjoy yourself, my friend. Or at least try to enjoy yourself, right? Try to enjoy yourself. Actually, one thing we could do, I wanted to show you this here real quick, because this is super cool. I wanted to show you on Google Maps the where Boca Chica is in Texas, because this is where we're going today, and where the SpaceX launch facilities are. And I wanted to show you this using Google satellite imagery, right? Or whatever satellite imagery Google has in Google Maps, so that we could compare that to what MSFS has. And I think you'll see it's pretty impressive how closely the photogrammetry, you know, big data stuff that they have in MSFS actually compares to what they have here, right? So Boca Chica is right on the very southern tip of Texas, right? It's as far south as you can get in Texas. So pretty much as far south as you can get. In fact, the U.S.-Mexico border is right there. You got the Rio Grande, you know, the river that delineates the border between the U.S. and Mexico, right there, just literally, you know, I think maybe 2 to 3 miles south of the SpaceX launch facility. So the SpaceX launch facility is right there. So these are all the this is where you see all those videos, right, from all the folks that camp out here and watch the launches, NASA Spaceflight, Everyday Astronaut, etc. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off at Brownsville Airport. That's right here, Brownsville South Padre International Airport. And we're just going to do VFR flying. We're going to look for State Route 4. That's State Route 4 right there, right? And we're just going to look and see how well the scenery matches up to what we're seeing here. So, you know, a lot of VFR navigation is following roads and rivers, right? So we're just going to follow State Route 4 all the way to the SpaceX complex, and we'll see what it compares like, right? So this is the Launch Control Center and the tracking station. We'll see how that compares to the MSFS scenery, and then we'll actually fly over the launch facility. And you know what we'll do, just for kicks, we'll land the Waco and whatever you guys want to fly along with me on the beach here, and then I'm going to load up, what's it called? I'm going to load up Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, and I'll show you the super cool SN8 mod that I've got. For those of you who don't know what Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator is, one second, let me see how MSFS is still loading up. Let me show you the website for Orbiter. If you've never heard of this, I strongly recommend getting your hands on it. Okay, so the website, just look for Orbiter's Spaceflight Simulator 2016, and this is completely freeware. It does have a steep learning curve, like it's a really, really steep learning curve to really get into it. But it's a full, you know, like 3D, it's got a full 3D graphics engine and everything, even if it does look a little bit dated by modern simulation platform standards. But it's super cool. Every single thing for this simulator is completely free. So there's a ton of add-ons to recreate, you know, like Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Soviet-era space program missions. There's space shuttle things you can do, and it's all, you know, relatively accurate. I mean, you don't have like complex system steps, obviously, but if you're looking to get a primer on orbital mechanics in action, this sim will steer you in the right direction. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of like freeware websites out there. Let me see how the sim is doing. It's still loading up. There's a whole bunch of like freeware websites available. This is one of the freeware websites that I use. It's called Orbit Hangar Mods, and somebody in their wisdom decided to make a Starship SN8 mod, which we're going to be flying today. So I'm just going to pull that up. There we go. So look at that. It's even got the little launch pad and everything. So that's super cool. So yeah, you know, we're going to recreate that SN8 suborbital hop, complete with the crash on the on the landing pad. Hopefully not. We'll see. But it's actually got whoever made this did some super cool, you know, autopilot modeling, because they actually modeled the skydive and landing with the retro propulsion right before touchdown. It's so cool. It's really, really amazing. So yeah, this is what we're going to be playing around with today. Okay, let's see how MSFS is doing. Hopefully it started up. Yes, it has. Okay, let's go to MSFS here, and let's load up. Unless somebody wants to fly elsewhere before we hop into Boca Chica, we'll just go straight to Boca Chica in that case. No crashes anticipated. Exactly. There probably will be. You know, the autopilot logic is not the best in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. The autopilot logic is not the best, so we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting for sure. I'm going to open up that program once we land on the beach here. What livery should we go with? There's a number of amazing liveries. You know, I'm thinking we'll go with the Observer Corps livery. I really like that livery as well. We did the Coastal Ellis livery last time, and the U.S. Mail livery I think it's good, but not as good as the Observer Corps. So we'll do the Observer Corps, and you know, let's just to make things easier on ourselves, we'll just top off the fuel. I'm obsessed with getting the weights right. I don't know why. All right, and we'll go to Brownsville, Texas. So KBRO is Brownsville, South Padre Island. So I'm just going to load up on the runway there. Actually, you know what? We'll do it right. Let's taxi out from one of the parking spots. So I'm just going to go to that parking spot there. We'll start up the engine and everything, and we'll taxi out. Okay. Just going to click on Fly. Sim will load up, and I'll go to multiplayer once we load up. Absolutely says Kerbal. Yes, I know there's a lot of Kerbal fans out there. You know, I never got into Kerbal, and I'm probably at this point, you know, so if I was younger, if I got into Kerbal when I was younger, like in my teens or in my 20s even, I probably would be really into it. The problem is, I'm a little too old right now to be getting into it, and to get too much enjoyment out of massacring, you know, cute little green Kerbals in vast numbers, just trying to get a rocket into orbit, right? So Orbiter has been my preferred space platform or spaceflight simulator platform of choice for a number of reasons. But I strongly recommend getting your hands on it. You know, it's completely freeware, and as you're going to see, even though the graphics look a little, you know, goofy sometimes, well, actually it doesn't look as goofy as Kerbal, but the graphics can look a little goofy at times. Even though it does look goofy, it's not bad at all. It's really, really good. I'm going to get live weather in. We'll see what the live weather situation is like here. And the other thing I wanted to do was let's get multiplayer on. So multiplayer coming on there. There we go. And what happened to my sound? Sounds good. Okay. Portland says you'll bring your F-15. Do you actually have an F-15 for this sim? That's crazy. John Patton, how's it going? You'll bring your Eurofighter Typhoon? You guys are welcome to do whatever you want. If you really think you can land on a beach in a Eurofighter Typhoon, well, good luck with that. Or an F-15, good luck with that. So we got another Waco there. That's fantastic. Let's see who we have. I'm just gonna get the traffic nameplates on, just so we have an idea. I suspect that's Absolutely Aviation, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's it. That's him. So I'm guessing Absolutely spent that gift card that he was dying to try. So that is fantastic. If so, great. Thank you, Absolutely. At least one person who wants to do it right. I would suggest an airplane that can keep up with us, folks, as opposed to an airplane that's just, you know, not really intended to check out the sites. The goal of doing this was to check out the sites, also to do a little bit of look at the update and patch this airplane. So let's go ahead and pull up. I just wanted to make sure that all my settings are good. Indeed, they are. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's go ahead and start up the airplane here. So we're going to get the battery alternator master on. We're going to get the nav lights on, beacon light on. There we go. And let's get the the fuel shutoffs into the not shut off position. Parking brake can still be set. There we go. Fuel shutoffs on. And yeah, let's go ahead and start up. So mixture full rich, throttle to idle for right now. Fuel pump can be turned on. And then when you're starting up a tailwheel airplane, stick is always full back when you're starting it up. I'm going to crack the throttle slightly. And let's go ahead and start up. So max to both or start position. There we go, good start. All right, we got good RPMs there. All right, good start there. Avionics can come on. I was looking for oil pressure and had a tough time finding it for some reason. Where's oil pressure on this airplane? There's oil pressure right there. Okay, oil pressure's in the green. Always a good idea to know where your oil pressure gauge is before you start the airplane up. Okay, now, the one thing I missed last time, by the way, and this is where I got confused, because you notice how we had this little placard here I mentioned last time that said tail wheel push forward to disengage? That is your tail wheel lock. And so when I moused over this, what ended up happening earlier, because of the where I was sitting in the cockpit, was I moused over that and I ended up getting the pitch trim. So I mistakenly thought this little mechanism there was the pitch trim, but really the pitch trim is this wheel down here. The tail wheel lock doesn't have a little pop-up that shows what it is. So in order to lock the tail wheel, we click on that and move it into the back position. That locks the tail wheel. To disengage the tail wheel, we click on it again to move it forward. That disengages the tail wheel. So that's what happens there. So anyway, that's the story. Absolutely, I love the radial. Yeah, have you done it yet? Yeah, you have already. Great. It's amazing. I love it for sure. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're ready to taxi out here. Let's see what the winds are doing here at Brownsville, Texas. Brownsville ATIS, winds 015 at 25, so actually we have some high winds here. I wanted to see what the air nav page at Brownsville call for, so let's go to, I just want to see what the runways were at Brownsville. Give me a second here. There's the airport diagram. Okay, so Brownsville, Texas, you know, we could depart on 13. That lines us up with the winds the best. So there's runway 13. Let me zoom in here so we can see. We're currently here at the FBO, so we're going to taxi via Bravo to hold short of 13, and we'll take off on 13. We're going to have a crosswind from the left during the departure. Actually, a pretty stiff crosswind component too. Winds are 150 at, correction, actually the winds are 015 at 25, correct? Let me go back to MSFS here. What were the winds? Brownsville ATIS again. Super Typhoon. Oh, I love it. I really do love it. I mean, you know, it's Carenado. It's not A2A. It's not A2A. I have a little bit of time in real life in a Stearman. The tiniest amount of time in a Stearman. What were the winds again? I can't get it up anymore. Are you using live weather there? Absolutely. Okay, there's the windsock though. Hold on. There's the windsock. So, you know what? Based on what that windsock is doing, I think it might be better to take off on 3.6, which is over that way. Because the windsock is really indicating pretty strong winds in that direction. So we'll take off on 3.6 instead. So 3.6 is, we're going to turn right on Bravo to 3.6. So that's going to be our plan. All right, we'll see how well this thing does in a crosswind. We're going to put it through its spaces. All right, parking brake released, stick full back for taxi and a tailwheel airplane, and controls into the wind. So controls into the wind until we're turned away from the wind, then controls away from the wind. So look what I'm doing with the controls. Stick full back still, because it's a tailwheel airplane, but controls are now away from the wind. Yeah, so I guess there's still a little bit of that RC physics. I mean, it's not as bad as it was before, but there's still a little bit of that. Are you seriously doing like an F-15 or whatever? That's ridiculous. All right. John, we're not really doing tutorials here, you know, and I'm not really looking forward to folks flying along in whatever massive airplane they want. So if you got something that can move at a more stately pace, like a 747, not a 747, like a Bonanza, or you know, a 172 even, or an X Cub or a Savage Cub, I think that's better. You know, guys, I don't want people buzzing around and making things not as entertaining for folks, you know, or making things troublesome for folks. Okay, the winds are definitely going to favor a departure on 3.5. We going to have a stiff crosswind though from the right. Look at that. Windsock is definitely going to be indicating a stiff crosswind from the right. Let's do a run up here. So I'm going to hold the brakes. I'm going to advance the RPMs to, I think, like, you know, I don't know what the run up procedure is in Waco, but I'm guessing around 1700 RPM should be good enough. Okay, 1700 RPM. There we go. Holding the brakes, and let's do a mag check. Left mag, back to both. There we go. Other mag, back to both. We had an RPM drop there, and I totally forgot last time, but I was looking for a carb heat control. That's not here, obviously, because we have a fuel pump. I should have turned off my fuel pump earlier. But we have a fuel pump, which means this is actually a fuel-injected engine. Obviously, in a fuel-injected engine, you don't need carb heat. So no carb heat for us to deal with. So let's go ahead and just go back to idle here and make sure the engine still runs. And that's pretty much our run-up complete here. All right, so we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and turn on the landing lights. And is there a strobe light here? Yes, there is. Okay, we're ready to go. Once again, never forget you get your controls into the wind when you're dealing with a headwind. So controls into the wind, and we're going to taxi on, and we'll get going. As soon as I start turning into the wind, I'm going to start getting my crosswind correction to the other side, by the way. So the way I was taught, by the way, taking off tailwheel in a crosswind, you actually will be banking the airplane during liftoff. So you'll be banking the airplane into the wind, and you're going to be lifting off one wheel first, if you can do it right, and then the other wheel. So the crosswind is now from the right, crosswind correction goes the other side immediately. There we go. Going to line up there as best as we can. Okay, wow, that was actually relatively good. I mean, we're slightly misaligned, but not too bad. Let's go ahead and actually we'll pull forward just slightly there, just to straighten the tail wheel out. There we go. Want to pull forward slightly just to make sure the tail wheel completely straightens out, and then we'll lock the tail wheel. So tail wheel locked. We're ready to go. So let's go ahead and go full throttle. Crosswind correction remains into the wind, by the way, until I get the control surfaces active, and then I can get the crosswind correction out. So, okay, picking up speed there. There we go. All right. Yeah, there's still a real strong right turning tendency, which I don't like. A big part of that is also due to the due to the crosswind. But it's not too bad, all things considered. You know, it's not too bad at all. Okay, let's turn to the right here, and we'll look for State Route 4, like we saw on the map, and we'll see how well the scenery corresponds to what we saw on Google Maps there. Okay, that's State Route 4, if I'm not mistaken. It's right off the end of the airport there. Right on the perimeter of the airport grounds. So we'll follow State Route 4 all the way up to the SpaceX launch facilities. That looks like it down there. Once you get airborne, though, this does fly beautifully. You know, I think that right turning tendency there was a little bit exaggerated because of the right crosswind. Obviously, the airplane wants to severely weather wing into the wind, especially in such a strong crosswind. But compared to the way it was handling before without the patch, I mean, it's handling beautifully now, you know? With that kind of crosswind without the patch, I definitely would have ground looped it, you know, or it would have been a real adventure trying to take off. So this worked out pretty well. This worked out really well. All right, do we have everybody, or do we have Absolutely take on? Yeah, there's Absolutely back there, and we got somebody else flying along in a 172 or a 152. Nice. Well, thanks for flying along, folks. So there's State Route 4 there, turning off to the left. And that river, by the way, is that the Rio Grande? Wow, so if that is the Rio Grande, then the US-Mexico border is right there. That's crazy how close it is. I mean, it's amazing, right? And part of you start to wonder how much of the FAA sort of like hedging and hemming and hawing around the launch clearance, you know, for SN9 has to do with, you know, the fact that unlike a lot of other launch facilities for, you know, launch facilities around the country like Cape Canaveral, or even where Blue Origin, you know, some of these other players launch from, you got to wonder how much of it might also be related to the fact that Boca Chica is kind of unique in that it's right next to an international border. Yeah, it's kind of a very interesting and unique location. All right. I'm gonna back off the throttle there just a little bit. But I gotta tell you, this is a beautiful airplane. Really do love it. So there's Absolutely in another Waco. I'm gonna slow down a little bit so Absolutely can catch up to us. I'm gonna try and maintain about 120 knots. I'm gonna try to be a good lead formation pilot here. But this is a pretty good match, I think, for what we saw in the Google Maps, right? The Google Maps imagery. It looks pretty much almost spot on, in my view. So eventually the road is going to bend towards the north. And not yet, but I think a little further ahead, the road is going to bend to the north. And at that point, we're going to come up on the SpaceX launch facilities. Definitely got a strong crosswind component at altitude too. Got a strong crosswind up here as well. But I gotta tell you, I love the way this airplane sounds. I just love the modeling work. I mean, look at all the details here. You got the struts between the two wings of the biplane. You got the bracing wires there. Little whiskey compass up there. Look at this. It's just spectacular. Do the mirrors work? I don't think they do work. I'm just, maybe the angle is not good. Maybe it's because the sun is behind us, I guess. I don't know. And I think these are your fuel indicators there. Yeah. Oh, you got the subtle blue color there too. That's cool. Got avgas in the tanks, obviously. That's kind of cool. I love it. I really do. This is your mirrors work, says Absolutely. Not sure why mine don't in that case. Absolutely, did you download the patch? Actually, my mirrors do work. I just got to be at the right angle when I'm looking at them. The mirrors work, they're just a little dark. You know, the mirrors definitely do work. You can see every individual rivet as well, by the way. Look closely. Every single individual rivet is there too. I mean, the wings are, I'm guessing the wings are fabric, obviously. You know, usually they are fabric wings. Not sure. Maybe it is a fabric airplane. Maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. Are your mirrors dark there? Absolutely, or are they clear? Okay, so we're going to come up on the SpaceX facilities here in just a little bit. It is kind of a beautiful part of the country, though, I got to tell you. You know, this is a nature preserve, I believe, in real life, right? It's like a state park. Brazos something state park, and of course you got all these barrier islands, right? Right next to the Gulf there, like South Padre Island there, which you can kind of see on the horizon. That's a huge barrier island that goes all the way to the north. In fact, a lot of what's his name, Everyday Astronauts videos are shot, I think, from a hotel on South Padre Island. That's where he does his live streams of the SpaceX launches. Okay, so we're coming up on the SpaceX facilities there. So clear as day, says absolutely. That's super cool. I wish mine was clear as day. It might be, you know what, absolutely. Maybe the issue is I'm using a non-default livery. So maybe this needs to be updated for the patch. Maybe that's the issue. But, you know, it's autogen, obviously, right? So it's not, oh wow, look at that. You got two shadows there, so absolutely he's flying in formation with us. Somewhere. Where is he? There he is, look at that. Oh, wow. These airplanes look good together. Look at that, that's super cool. Try changing the time, says absolutely. What time do you have in Sim? So, 1 second, okay? What I want to do is I wanted to pause it real quick. So I'm going to pause the Sim. Sorry for anybody that's following along. I wanted to go back to the satellite imagery. Where's satellite imagery? There's Google Maps. Okay, so this is where we are at, right? We're pretty much just about to turn back slightly to the east there. So this is what we were looking at just now. This is like a relatively good representation of what we're seeing, right? So the Launch Control Center, the South Texas Tracking Station, that's what we were looking at here in the sim. I mean, it's a little bit out of date, you can tell, and it's obviously not, you know, photogrammetry data, but it's still a pretty good representation. I mean, you would never get this in Prepared or X-Plane, you know? Even with ortho, you know, I'm not sure it would look quite like this. That's amazing, though. Yeah, that's actually there. And let's see if we can spot the actual launch pad. That's coming up. The launch pad is just up here. Actually, wait a second. That wasn't it. Never mind, never mind. Sorry, folks. I misled you. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. That's coming up ahead. So it's actually up ahead. So it's a much better representation up ahead. I got confused. What we were looking at, actually, was some other stuff. I think we were looking at this stuff. This is what we were looking at. Yeah, so we were just looking at some random houses. My bad. What we're looking for is this stuff here, the SpaceX Launch Control Center and the South Texas Tracking Station. That's up ahead. That's after, it looks like a little bit of a, I'm not sure if that's a bridge or what over this part of the lake, but that's what we're looking for up ahead. Okay, sorry about that, misled you all. The tracking station and the Launch Control Center are up ahead, so that's what we're gonna see. It is a beautiful landscape there, Daniel, for sure. 12 says absolutely. Okay. I might change it, absolutely. You know, what I wanted to do, though, to be quite frank with you, was I wanted to, 1 second, I'm just going to turn off nameplates here, folks, because I already know who everybody is. So, 1 second. Okay. I totally lost my train of thought, but it'll come back to me. Oh, I wanted to reset my time to be actually a little bit later in the day, because I like flying around sunset, as you folks know. Golden hour flying is the best. Will, absolutely. The aircraft does seem very stable. I mean, it's Carenado, right? I'm not expecting like like supercomputer level flight dynamics. I'm certainly not expecting 828 level flight dynamics or ground handling physics, but you know, given it's only $15, I think it's totally worth it. You know, especially if you have a gift card to spend, it's totally worth it. Okay, so here we go. This is the Launch Control Center right here. They've done a pretty good representation, don't you think? Like, I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna pause it right here. This is completely autogen, right? So this is just the AI, the Azure AI engine figuring out what kind of buildings to draw. Let's go back to Google Maps here. That's what it looks like in real life. You know, at least as of what date was this from? This was from, doesn't really tell what date it was. But it's a pretty good representation, right? And is that Boca Chica village there? Is that the village? I'm not sure. All those houses. That's the village they probably evacuate, right, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a pretty good representation. I mean, look, you can see all the houses there. If that is Boca Chica village, you can see all the houses. And that's the tracking station there. This is pretty impressive. You know, I'm really digging this stuff. This is really impressive. This looks really cool. There's absolutely back there. That looks cool. Okay, let's check out the actual launch pad itself. So launch pad is over that way. Oh my god. Okay. One second, I'm gonna pause it once again. I want to take a look at this. It is a really pretty area for sure there, Portland. It really is pretty. So I wanted to pause it and go back here. So what we're looking at, right? So you see all this interesting landscape. It looks like, you know, I'm not even sure what it is. It says Boca Chica State Park, but I'm not even sure what all these striations are, right? These, this interesting kind of furrowed landscape there. But this is the end of Boca Chica Boulevard and State Route 4, and the SpaceX launch facility, the launch pads are right there. So we're going to see how well what we're about to see matches up with what we're seeing in Google Maps. I think it's going to be pretty good. I mean, the autogen is probably going to do a few funky things here and there, but let's see what it looks like. Yeah, there you go. You've actually got the launch pad there. Look at that. That's super cool. And, you know, look at this. Hold on a second. Have you guys ever seen the tank farm? You know, the tank farm, this is what you would think the AI would draw the tank farm as. Right? The tank farm from above looks like there's one really long tank, right? And then there's a whole bunch of like smaller tanks that are like silos. Sorry about that, absolutely. I just kind of paused right there. But this is what the AI is thinking of. This is what the AI is interpreting the tank farm as. But it's super cool that at least it's trying to interpret the tank farm. Man, that's amazing. That is super cool. You know, I can't wait until somebody does like a freeware, you know, SpaceX Boca Chica launch facility scenery and uploads it to FlightSim.to or whatever. That is pretty impressive. Okay, what I want to do is I want to show you some actual aerial shots. I'm going to pause the sim here for a moment. I want to show you some actual like aerial shots from right over this. So I'm going to go to NASA Spaceflight Twitter. I think that's what it is. One second. I got to find... Here we go. Okay. I got to find a guy named Jack Beyer. There he is. Okay. So give me a second here to find this real quick. All right. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but as of, I think a couple of days ago, they rolled out SN10, which is the latest flight-ready, almost flight-ready version of their Starship prototypes. And that's actually, so now they actually have two Starships on the pad. They've got SN9 and SN10, which is super cool. That's the old Starhopper back there. So this is what it looks like as of right now, you know, from the air. There was one shot that was a bit bigger that I wanted to find, if I could find it. Oh yeah, here we go. So There was a wider shot. But look at this. So you got the tank farm there. You see the tank farm? So what the AI is doing, one second, let me go back to this. You see how you have a bunch of tanks that are laid horizontal and flat, and then there's a bunch of tanks that are laid vertical? So what is going on, I think, with the AI in the sim is, let me go back towards the tank farm area. What I think the AI is doing is it's drawing those horizontal tanks as long, long buildings, like rectangular buildings, and it's drawing the like long and low rectangular buildings, and it's drawing the vertical tanks as like a bunch of taller, smaller buildings. You see that? It's kind of crazy the way the AI is interpreting this stuff. Absolutely. Well, thanks for hanging out, and James, thank you for hanging out as well. Hope you guys had fun. We'll catch you next time. Will, before you go, you absolutely should get MSFS. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's going to be a while before the real hardcore, like, payware study level tube liner add-ons come to the sim, but in the meantime, there's still lots of fun to be had exploring the world. This is pretty cool, I mean, it's a bit out of date, obviously, but it's amazing, going back to those pictures. It's amazing how close it does look to what it is. And you can tell there's been a lot of developments, right? They've extended the launch pad. There's a new, like, orbital launch pad, because these are the two suborbital pads. There's a new orbital launch pad that's being assembled as well, right? Oh yeah, here's a much wider shot. This is the one I was looking for. So those are the tank farms. We saw the way the AI was modeling that. There's the landing pad. I think what we were looking at, let me go back to this. What we're looking at there, that's the landing pad right there. You see the little pad-like thing just off the road, kind of sitting on its own away from the tank farm. That's actually the landing pad where SN9, or SN8 rather, had its rapid unscheduled disassembly, right? The RUD, as they call it. It's a pretty funny term. That's the landing pad, and then they've expanded the actual launch pad facilities quite a bit. It's cool. Yeah, Will, totally. I think we need to have you back. That way we can have you doing group flights for sure. This is super cool. All right, folks, I'm going to land on the beach if I can. I've never tried it before. I have no idea how bad the winds are. So we'll see how we do. The winds were coming more or less from that direction, so I'm going to land to the north. And we're going to have a crosswind from the left when we land on the beach here. So we'll land on the beach, and we're going to hop into Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. And, I'm not going to shut down MSFS. I think I can keep MSFS running as long as I can pause it. But in case we get any stuttering in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, we'll go ahead and shut MSFS down or something. We'll see what happens. Was that Portland in the 747 sitting in the ocean there? Portland, did you have to ditch in the ocean? Endeavor, how's it going? Endeavor 630 says you're doing your flight training right across the field from their headquarters. Super cool there, Endeavor. Where is their headquarters, out of curiosity? Where is the headquarters of this company? By the way, they also make the Great Lakes biplane, correct? I'm sure if you live right next to, or if you fly right next door to them, or flight train right next to them, you probably know, you're all too familiar with their product portfolio. So I'm super curious, like, where are they located, number one, and have you had any time in them? That's super cool, though. Okay, I'm gonna try and land on the beach here. Yeah, we got a super stiff crosswind there from the right, so I might have to do a wheel landing here on one wheel, and then slowly, gently ease the tail down. So, boy, we've gone straight into the fire here with this new patch. They have nerfed the ground handling physics a lot, so it's not as squirrely on the ground, but you can tell it's like a super, we got a super stiff crosswind there from the right, so we're gonna have to deal with that. So there's two options here, by the way. I'm just gonna pause this real quick to talk about this. One is we can do a wheel landing where we've got one wing low, or two wings low, really, when you think about it, as a biplane. And we touch down on one wheel. We touch down on the upwind wheel first, the right wheel, and then we gently bring the left main down. and then eventually when the airplane slows down, we get stick full back and get the tail wheel down. Another option is to land, you know, in a 3-point attitude, except you're gently trying to get a wing low into the wind, right? So you actually touch down on the right main and the tail wheel, and then momentarily after that, the left main comes down almost immediately. So those are the two techniques to deal with crosswind landings in a tail wheel airplane. So let's, you know, I'll try the 3-point, the closer to 3.1 if I can. So trying to correct for that wind there. Slowly back off the throttle. There we go. Touchdown. Tail full back. There we go. Boy, that crosswind is really trying to turn me there. Yeah, they really kind of nerfed the ground handling. It's not as challenging as it was before. Like, I probably would not have been able to do that landing in the past. Okay, let's get the tail wheel unlocked here. Crosswind correction always. Tail wheel unlocked, and let's go ahead and we'll taxi back the other way. So I'm going to keep the crosswind correction, because as I turn around, the headwind is going to become a tailwind. Endeavor says it's in Battle Creek, Michigan. You're not too familiar with your fleet, as you don't see the planes much. Oh, well, that sucks, Endeavor, because these are beautiful airplanes. But nice to have a Michigander on stream. Hope you're doing well. And it's super cool you ride across from them. Endeavor, what are you doing your flight training in as of the moment, out of curiosity? Is it a 172, a Warrior, something a bit more advanced, like a Diamond, Katana or something, out of curiosity? So we're just going to pull forward a little bit here. I was trying to get back to where the road was, the end of the road, leading back to the launch pad. Yeah, there's the road there. Portland, I am super curious how the F-15 beach landing goes. There you are. I see you coming in. I'm going to get out of your way. And the beach is all... Actually, that's absolutely coming in. Sorry, folks. I'll get nameplates back on here in a second. Oh, boy. Oh, sorry. Absolutely. I'm getting out of your way. I'm getting out of your way. Right away. Right away. Right? So I'm getting out of Absolutely's way. But nice landing there. Oh, and here comes I think it was Portland in the 747. Or Portland, were you in the F-15 or the 747? I don't know. Who was in the 747? Endeavor says you're in a Cirrus. Holy cow. Oh, you're at a Part 141. Okay, got it. Okay, nice. Well, I'm super jealous that you get to fly a Cirrus for flight training there, Endeavor. That's got to be super cool. I learned to fly in a lowly old Piper Warrior 2 way back in the day. This was like in the early to mid 2000s. So I did not have the benefits of high performance, of that kind of high performance flying. But that's super cool though. How long is your program, Endeavor? Oh, you can't see us, says Portland. Oh no. 1 second. I'm gonna turn nameplates back on. I had that turned off earlier so I wouldn't get too distracted. Okay, so that was that guy. And the guy who was with us at Brownsville just happened to be with us. I think he was going in a completely different direction. So there's absolutely there. Okay, I'm gonna pull up what's it called? Orbiter Spaceflight Sim right now, okay? Give me a second here to pull it up. Okay. And I'm just gonna go into the escape thing on my sim. Okay, let me go ahead and go to my desktop capture scene. Hopefully y'all can see this. So this is the Orbiter Launchpad, as it's called. It's basically the main menu for Orbiter Spaceflight Sim. And the Starship SN8 does have a couple of scenarios here. So let me know in case anything starts stuttering, because I've got both MSFS active and this sim at the same time. This sim though is super light on resources, so there shouldn't be a problem at all. So we're going to do the 12.5 kilometer hop test, right? This is what SN8 did, and I think it's more or less what SN9 is going to do as well. So let's go ahead and launch that scenario. Portland is asking, could I show you where exactly we are on the VFR map? 1 second. Let me do that real quick. Portland, we are located. So there's the VFR map. We're located right there. So there's Brownsville, Texas, the airport, KBRO, and we're located right there. In fact, Portland, it might be easier if I show you on Google Maps. Give me a second here. It might be a lot easier if I just show you on Google Maps. So here's where we are. Oh, not that one. Google Maps. There we go. So there's the Brownsville South Padre Airport. We followed that road all the way here to, you see that area that's very, very distinct? You can make this out from the air super easy. And you remember where the launch facilities were? We're right here at the end of the road. We're right at the end of that road on the beach going up to that launch facility. That's where we're at. Okay, let me pull up Orbiter once again. All right, let's go back to the desktop capture scene. And yeah, let's go ahead and launch Orbiter. Let me know in case you see any frame rate issues or stutters. We're gonna try and launch this thing. Here we go. So you see how quickly it loads up. Now, the scenery is not the best. The graphics are not the best, but it's still super cool, you know? I mean, look at this. And whoever made this mod did an amazing job of it, right? Because you got the tri-venting going on, you got the LOX vent, all the vents are working the way they are supposed to. So that's super cool. And there's a bunch of views that are modeled inside the in the cockpit view, so to speak. So let's go ahead and absolutely says stall buffets are done well in the Waco. That's super cool, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and launch here, and we'll see how well we do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in the main power here. I got to do this manually, and so the autopilot only controls the skydive and the landing. The actual ascent up to 12.5 kilometers I got to do myself. So here we go. Let's do it. Here we go. We're going to launch, liftoff. Okay. Now I got to control this manually, and there's a whole bunch of views, you know, that are kind of modeled with the that are modeled here as well. So let's check out the views. This is the view from inside the engine area. That's super cool. Look at that. This is the view from the front fins, the view from the back flaps. Ailerons, as they're called. That's super cool. Okay, there we go. There we go. Cut off, and now we're going to activate the skydive and land autopilot. So wing flaps coming in. I wanted to go to a different camera. Hold on. This camera should do it.
That's pretty good.
So what the autopilot now is trying to find its bearings. it's trying to get back. It's trying to get back on an optimal trajectory here. So the autopilot is kind of doing its thing. You can see the fins operating, like the flaps. Although right now it's a little bit off kilter. We'll see what happens. Where is the actual... Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay. There was a different view. Oh, there's the view I wanted. Okay. All right. This is the view I was looking for. Yeah, right now it's kind of teetering a little bit. It's teetering a little bit. But it's slowly getting back to where it needs to be. Again, this is completely freeware, right? So it's not exactly... It doesn't exactly receive that SpaceX avionics treatment or spacionics treatment, astrodynamics treatment, whatever. But it's still pretty amazing, right? That somebody actually modeled this. So it's skydiving right now. It's descending almost vertically, and there's the RCS thrusters kicking in. I don't know why they weren't kicking in earlier, but right now it's trying to steer itself towards the retropropulsion burn. So let's take a look at our altitude here. We're currently at 3 kilometers altitude. We've got a range of 1 kilometer approximately to the
Steve, are you returning with anything? Yeah, so get ahead back.
To the actual landing pad. There it is. Okay, the retropropulsion burn started. Look at this. Let's get the landing gear extended, and let's see how well this thing does. Oh boy, it's teetering. It's teetering. It's really teetering here. It's teetering.
And Al, just to check, you should have, at this point, 3 bags in the airlock with you.
I've got the light bag.
Oh no, it's gonna fall over. It's gonna fall over. It nailed the landing, but it fell over. Which kind of, you know, sort of is what happened in real life with SN8, right? Except it came down, in that case, it just came down way too hard because of a header tank pressure issue. But that's super cool. It more or less mimicked the flight almost exactly as it happened. Not quite, but almost. Let's do a different scenario here. I wanted to do the, there's a really cool view here, the skydive itself. Alright, there we go. So this is the view, I'm sure you've seen that super cool SpaceX shot, right? From right on the landing pad where you saw the Starship come in for the skydive and landing, and this is kind of supposed to mimic that. So you can make out the Starship there. It's a rapidly growing black figure in the air there. There it is. There it is. Okay, retro propulsion burn started. Landing burn started, rather. It's actually not retro propulsion, my bad. It's the landing burn. Look at that. And the landing pad is like right underneath us. Let's see if this works itself out. Hopefully this does. Oh boy, oh boy. It's trying to correct, it's trying to correct. Okay. This is pretty much where we are actually parked in the sim, by the way. Look at that. Touchdown, really nice and soft. Is it gonna stay right side up? I hope it does. There you go. Nailed it. More or less. Just slightly off the center of the landing pad there. But that's super cool. Alright folks. So we gotta see Starship land, and we gotta visit Boca Chica. So I strongly recommend, you know, get your hands on the Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. By the way, they've also got a Falcon Heavy mod. This is super cool, like where you can watch, you know, you can watch the Falcon Heavy launch, and you'll actually see the 2 boosters come back and land in unison, just the way you saw it in real life with Falcon Heavy. So that's super cool. We're not going to see that today. Maybe we'll see that another day if we visit like Cape Canaveral or something. But yeah, there you go. So just thought that'd be fun to check out. Okay, I'm unpaused. Let's go ahead, and I see Portland over there in the distance. Portland, you can come in and land if you'd like. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It really is quite something. I agree. There's absolutely back there. So are we watching Portland land? I think we are. I'm not sure what he's going to show up as. Probably as an F-15 or something. Or probably as a Bonanza, right? Because I don't have an F-15 model to model match with whatever Portland is flying. Portland, yeah, you can change your... I'm sorry, I missed that question earlier, but you can change your multiplayer server. I'm on the West server, by the way. I'm not sure if I answered that question already. I probably didn't. But I'm on the West server. Does anybody want to see the Falcon Heavy launch scenario, even though we're not at Cape Canaveral? That could be fun to watch. Does anybody want to watch that? We'll watch that right after right after Portland lands. Well, actually, Portland, how far away are you? You look like you're a distance away. Does anybody want to see the Falcon Heavy launch scenario? The key thing there is the autopilot and the physics for the booster return to Earth and simultaneous landing of both boosters on the 2 landing pads at Cape Canaveral are simulated perfectly. So that's super cool to watch them landing in unison. There's Portland. Yeah, I see you're about to touch down there. Okay, Portland just touched down. Awesome. Nice landing there, Portland. Okay, I'm gonna pull up Orbiter once again. You want to see this MBI? Awesome. Okay, I'm glad somebody wants to see. I'm glad it's not just me that has a an interest in this stuff. Okay, back to the desktop capture scene here. Let's go to the Tesla Roadster launch. This is the one with the it's actually got a model of the Tesla Roadster. I mean, I gotta tell you though, to be honest, the graphics are not the best, but they're still pretty good. Okay, I mean, you look at how fast it loads up too. You got the venting, obviously, because it's filled to the brim here with like super cooled, super cryogenic, liquid oxygen, and in this case, RP1, right? Versus Starship, which uses LOX and methalox, so liquid methane and liquid oxygen. This one's got RP1 and LOX as well. Okay, let's go ahead and hop in here. I think we want to do launch control panel. I gotta remember. Okay, start and stop. Okay, start.
9er, 8, 7.
Here's the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2.
John says you live in Orlando. Fantastic, John. That's a fantastic town. I've been there a fair amount. Obviously you got all the resorts out there, and not to mention you're not that far away from Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral is like right there. So super cool. Okay, there we go. Starship just launched. Or not Starship, sorry. Falcon Heavy just launched. Eventually, I'm going to switch into this view. Global frame? Yeah, maybe this one. Hold on. That's the view I wanted, actually. Perfect. Alright, so there's Cape Canaveral below us. I think that was launch pad 39... Was that 39A or 39B? I'm trying to remember. One of the 39s. There's the vehicle assembly building over there, the space shuttle landing facility there. Alright. I think that was max Q essentially, or actually that was just passing through the sound barrier, probably. Heard a boom of some sort. Yeah, that was just a sound barrier. Okay, launch autopilot is active. At some point here, which, by the way, these two MFDs, like, you can set it to a whole bunch of different modes. Like, these are surface modes, where you've got surface position, like a surface track of the orbital track. You've got, obviously, you're all too familiar with, like, a PFD type display, right? That sort of thing. But then you can also do, like a mode where you can look at your orbital parameters, like your periapsis, eccentricity, apoapsis, all that jazz. Okay, still burning hard here. We're going to be coming up on Miko here in just under a minute, I suspect. We're going to have Miko. Absolutely says you may or may not have taken off into the trees. Yikes. Okay, so Miko is really what I'm looking for, because at that point we're going to follow the we're just going to forget about the second stage altogether. We're just going to follow the boosters. We're just going to follow the boosters back to the LZ. There we go, stage SEP confirmed. Look at that, that's super cool. And there's the retro propulsion burn. Look at that, that's super cool. Alright, let's change to one of the, let's go Falcon Heavy port, right? There we go, okay. Actually, wait a second. No, there it is. Yeah, this is the one I wanted. So you've got the other booster over there. You can see the plume from the rocket engine. So this is the retro propulsion burn to, reverse all that velocity that it had, going east, and have it going back to the west towards Cape Canaveral and the landing pads. Kyle Longley, it's been great. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for hanging out today. Kyle, we're actually we're in MSFS. We're pretty much just at the end of the road, State Route 4 in Boca Chica, Texas, where we just checked out the MSFS version of the SpaceX facilities. And we're in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator at the moment, and we're looking at some Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator versions of SpaceX launches. So this is a mod that basically simulates the launch of the Tesla Roadster, the very first test, I believe, of the Falcon Heavy launch vehicle. So right now we've watched the booster separation. We're watching the boosters do their retro propulsion burn and return back to the landing pads. So if you remember, this was, you know, this was what caused a stir with those videos way back in whatever the year was that they launched Falcon Heavy, right? Remember how cool it was watching those two boosters land together at the same time? That's essentially what we're watching. So you've got the other booster there right over that lake. And this is the booster on the port side. Are you guys just kind of goofing off in MSFS? That's unfortunately what a lot of people tend to do in multiplayer in MSFS, just kind of goof off. Okay, there's the Cape down there, right? Yeah, there it is. And I've got a bead on the two landing pads. It's headed right for the landing pad. Grid fins have been extended, look at that. So the other booster just started its landing burn. Actually, there's two landing burns. I think there's one landing burn to slow down, and then there's a second landing burn, which is the actual sort of like final landing burn. There we go. And you can see the physics modeling, right? As soon as the landing burn is complete, it starts dropping quicker because gravity takes over. If a vertical bonanza, yeah, I think that counts as goofing off, right? Because that's not a real thing. It's not a real thing without, you know, an NTSB report in real life, right? Okay. I'm gonna try and get a good angle here. It's super hard to do that. There we go, that's a better angle. Okay. Hopefully I can get both in the same shot. There we go. Okay, so I've got both more or less in the same shot. I think the starboard one is probably going to touch down first, and then this one. So the other one is probably going to reach the ground first. You can look at the grid fins maneuvering. You can actually see the grid fins moving. That's super cool that that's modeled.
You are cleared to land.
Clear to land. I don't think that's a thing. It's an autopilot. Like it's all automatically controlled. Okay, landing burn. Look at that. Both of them in unison.
And Nicole, we'd like to get another glove check from Steve. We heard mention that they
This
were
is like automated,
better visual on that.
you know, like
we like how they check his
chatter.
cover.
Just disregard it.
You guys copy?
There come the landing pads, right, or whatever you call it. Look at that! Holy smokes! That's so cool. That's incredibly cool, isn't it? That's super cool. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and exit. We'll go back to MSFS here. Tell you what, we're currently at 257. Okay, should we head back to, trying to think. Oh yes, totally MBI. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Trying to think if we should go to a different location or stay here. We'll do a quick hop around, you know what, let's just head back to Brownswell. Let's just head back to Brownswell. So we've got to turn into the wind. The winds are out of the north, right? So I'm going to turn back into the wind here. Kyle says you're going to join us in MSFS. Awesome, Kyle. You're more than welcome to. Did I get my parking brake on? No, I did not. Okay. I think my tail wheel is just at an awkward angle there. That's probably why. So I suspect that Bonanza is Portland. So once again, aileron into the wind. Let's just make sure I'm clear up ahead, more or less clear. Okay, Portland just took off. 1 second, got to do the tail wheel lock. Forgot about that. Tail wheel lock engaged, and let's get going. Full throttle. Stick still into the wind, and yeah, we're gonna take off one wing load like that. That's how I was taught. I mean, a little less extreme than that, but that's how I was taught. And there goes absolutely. That's super cool. In the other Waco. Okay, I'm gonna turn back here to the east. And actually, one thing I wanted to show you. So there's the launch facilities once again, right? You got the tank farm over there, or at least the autogen version of the tank farm. You got the landing pad over there, and look at how close the Mexican border is. There's the Rio Grande right there. You see that river there? The Mexican border is literally like probably, I'm gonna guess less than 2 miles. You know, maybe 3 miles at most. But it's right there. You see how close it is. Yeah, so this is kind of unique in that respect, right? It's got a super interesting location. Yes, Kyle, we are. So the identifier is Kilo Bravo Romeo Oscar. Kilo Bravo Romeo Oscar. Okay, we're gonna head back to Brownsville. Essentially, I'm just gonna do the reverse the course we flew earlier, right? I'm just gonna follow the State Route 4 there back to the airport, because the road just takes us right back to the airport. Okay, there's Claw Payload there. Portland says you're coming back to fly like a normal person. What does that mean? What does that mean? Not sure. I think we'll land on 3.6 again if the winds were still what they were before. Not Mach 1. Okay, got it. Can you actually do Mach 1 there, Portland, in the F-15? Because I heard, do they have supersonic physics modeled yet? Because I heard that's something they're working on, right? Is Microsoft for MSFS. I heard that's not yet done. It is a really pretty landscape, though, gotta tell you. It's a super pretty landscape. And this time of the year, it seems like a pretty nice place to be at. You know, the temperatures seem pretty good. I think the only thing that's not so good is sometimes the winds kick up, right? And that can also cause scrubs. But it's a super nice place to be. Can't exceed Mach 1. Oh, you see, there's actually like a barrier. Like, there's literally a sound barrier in that case at MSFS. That is hilarious. There's literally a sound barrier. Oh, man. Whoa, what? Oh, absolutely, it's right above us. I think that's why. There he is. He's right there. When folks get close, right? That's the point at which I think the model just sort of starts to disappear. Kyle, no worries. It's all good. You know, I'm thinking. Oh boy, I always say, okay, I can do this for another 10 or 15 more minutes, and then it ends up taking a lot longer. Wow, look at that. That's a nice formation flight. Stay right there, Portland. Oh, not Portland, but stay right there, absolutely. Never mind. I don't think I was doing a good job of lead piloting anyway. But I was about to take a screenshot because that looked really, really good. By the way, you guys saw the thumbnail for this stream? That picture of the Waco in the thumbnail, that's not a real picture. That's actually from MSFS. And that was in Sonoma County, California, like wine country. I'm thinking, you know, coming back to I always feel like I have an extra 15 minutes I can spend. I might do a very quick short hop in the pattern around Sonoma, around the town of Sonoma, California, and back to land at Sonoma County, you know, one of the airports there, close to the town of Sonoma, California. So we could look at that beautiful part of the country before we shut down, because I wanted to do another quick hop in the Waco, but I want to keep that hop like within 15 minutes. So tell you what, you know, don't load up at Brownsville. We don't need to return all the way back, although the airport is like right there. Tell you what, let's just go to Sonoma County and we'll call it a day at Sonoma County. We'll definitely do a landing at Sonoma County because we've done 2 landings. I'll get the screenshot now. Hold on. I think I'm already out of position. Alright, come on in. We'll get a screenshot. I'm gonna load up at Sonoma County. I'm not actually gonna land in Brownsville because we've already done a landing on the beach, right? So we'll do a pattern, a full pattern at Sonoma County. Okay, stay right there. Got a screenshot. Good. I got one. That looked nice. Okay, folks, I'm gonna hop off here and I'm gonna load up. I'm gonna show you the airport I'm loading up here in a second. Still gonna be on the West US server, but I think this is gonna be a beautiful part of the country to do a quick short hop in. Nice, you know, rolling hills and a few mountains around as well. And it's wine country, California, so it's just absolutely beautiful. And also, the town of Sonoma is one of the few smaller towns there that has, you know, full photogrammetry coverage. So it's really nicely modeled. Okay, let's go over there. So there's Boca Chica, Texas. We're gonna go over to the west coast of the U.S. and we're gonna look for Sonoma Valley Airport. Okay, there's a Sonoma Sky Park and there's a Sonoma Valley Airport. We want to go to Sonoma Valley, 0 Quebec 3. And I think I'm just going to load up on the runway. And I'm going to set the time a bit closer to sunset. There we go, somewhere around there, maybe. There, yeah. And I'm just going to load up there. And you're more than welcome to join me there. I'm just going to do a quick hop around town and back. All in, I want to keep it below 15 minutes. 10 minutes if I can. So I'm going to try and get this to work. And Kyle, you can join us at 0 Quebec 3, Sonoma Valley Airport, if you'd like. Or just look for me on the map, and you can spawn on me there. Okay, just loading up here. Here's a link, by the way. Let me pull this up. Just want to pull up a link to Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, just so y'all have that. Okay, just loaded up at Sonoma Valley Airport, rather. There we go, Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, and I think absolutely just loaded up as well. So it looks like everybody, or absolutely at least, has some pretty good loading times. So there's the Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator link. Completely freeware once again. It does have a steep learning curve, and it requires you to obtain some understanding of orbital mechanics and all that stuff. But once you do get the hang of it, it's super cool, you know? Let's see what the weather is like in the live weather engine. But this is a beautiful part of the country. It's all, you know, vineyards, wine country around here. It's not that great live weather-wise, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go to clear skies. There we go, that's better. Okay, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Okay, let's get the tail wheel lock engaged. There we go. And I'm going to start rolling here. Oh, parking brake. Dang it. Okay, parking brake released. Okay. As we build up speed there, I'm going to go ahead and get... there is... Okay, nice. There's actually a little bit of a left turning tendency modeled in that case during the pitch down. The problem is there's also a strange right turning tendency when I keep the tail wheel lifted there. But nice, that was a cool formation takeoff there with Absolutely Aviation. I'm going to turn to the right towards the town of Sonoma. There's the windsock down there. It looks pretty much dead. The windsock's not doing anything. I mean, it's slight, you know, variable winds here and there, so that's the reason it's moving, but really the winds aren't doing anything. So this is all photogrammetry coverage, by the way. Super cool. So the town of Sonoma is right over there, so we're going to head directly for the town of Sonoma. Just overfly the town. Super cool little town to visit if you come out of this part of the world. it's really, really beautiful out here. No shortage of fantastic wine and fantastic food. Sonoma has a number of like really cool little restaurants. So for those of you who are not too familiar with wine country in California, Napa is a lot more well known, right? Obviously, Napa is right over the hills over there, towards the east. Napa is a lot more snobbish. I'm just gonna say that it's a lot more snobbish. They have some great wine in Napa, don't get me wrong, but Sonoma, I think, is a lot more where at least my heart is when it comes to wine country. People are a lot more down to earth, and you know, wine is a lot less you know, artificially inflated in terms of price, and it's just a really beautiful part of the country too. Vineyards are just as good, if not better, than anything in that other valley over there. Okay, so this is the town of Sonoma itself. Let's see if we can find the town center of Sonoma, then we're going to circle back to the airport and do a quick lap in the pattern. So there's the center of town right there. There it is. So you got a little park right in the middle there. It's kind of overgrown, like fecund with vegetation. That's not really true. In real life, there are trees, but it's not that packed. And this is kind of Main Street, more or less, right here. There's a really cool restaurant down there that I absolutely love. It's a pretty nice place, though. Just absolutely love it. Super cool place. Live weather is cloudy. Yeah, for me too. That's why I switched back to clear skies there. That's why I switched back to clear skies. Kyle, oh, you missed us. Kyle, did you find us? We're gonna pull up the VFR map. We were at 0 Quebec 3. So that's the airport we were at, 0 Quebec 3. So right now, I think the closest airport is actually Sonoma Sky Park, which is that one right there. But I'm heading back to Sonoma Valley Airport, which is over there, closer to the hills. So easy to lose track of everything. Alright, but I'm going to be landing here in no time at all. I'm going to be right back. I wanted to keep this this a little short and sweet, obviously, so I can make curfew, so to speak. Where's the airport? I lost track of it. See, you see how easy it is to get lost when you're flying VFR. You'd think because nothing looks the same that there's no way you could get lost like you would, you know, but in real life it's so easy to get lost. It's a lot easier to find airports with like generic land class scenery in P3D or XP11 than it is to find it like this, you know, in real VFR type weather, in real, you know, with real VFR, you know, type scenery, right, where everything looks different. That's it right there. Okay, I got the runway in sight. But this is just the way it is in real life too. You know, if you're, especially in an unfamiliar airport, and I've only, I think, been to this airport twice in real life. Just some quick like touch and goes, right? But it's so easy in real life, if you're coming up on an unfamiliar field, to just have absolutely no idea where the field is, even if you're almost right on top of it. Okay, but there's Sonoma Valley Airport below us. We're just gonna circle to land. So I'm gonna fly a left downwind here, and I'm gonna come in and land. I think the windsock is indicating dead, although it's swinging around at this side. I'm gonna try and do a 3-point landing on this one if I can. There's Absolutely Aviation over there, flying past us in style. All right. I'm just gonna bring it all the way around here. Probably gonna overshoot just a little bit, but that's fine. Throttle to idle. Okay. I'm gonna do a crop duster spatter. Which is not much of a pattern at all. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna land a bit long, but that's fine, because, you know. There we go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to go around. I think I was running out of runway. Yes, I was. I ran out of runway just in time. I was able to pull up. Okay, that's interesting. That's the first time I think I've done or tried to do a proper three-point landing, and yeah, this maybe they changed the dragginess of the airplane too. Because in the past it seemed super draggy, but I felt like maybe they've reduced that a little bit. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try this again. Then again, you know, I did fly a super bad pattern there, so it's probably just my fault. All right, I'll follow Portland there. Yeah, I did the same thing there, Portland. I did the exact same thing. I'm gonna follow Portland in on final. Actually, what's he up to? Not sure. He seems to be going off in that direction. Okay, I'm gonna turn base in that case. Just gonna keep it going all the way around here. Overshot again. It's super hard to get a bead on like how close you're cutting in your pattern on downwind in FlyJSim, because you don't have that sort of like perception of depth that you do in real life. Okay, just gonna forward slip it in here in order to lose altitude. Came in a little high on the last one. Alright, gonna kick out the slip, or get out of the slip, and let's see if we can get into a nice 3-point attitude here. Feels like it's a bit more sensitive in pitch than it was in the past. There we go. Yeah, they definitely changed the drag characteristics of the airplane. I feel like it's a lot less draggy than it was before. It's a lot less draggy than it was before, it feels like. Because, you know, I was trying to bleed off speed there, and just gonna disengage the tail wheel lock. I was trying to bleed off speed there as I was flaring and trying to get it in a 3-point attitude, and if you remember the stream on Wednesday, I felt like I could do it a lot easier using the drag of the airplane to do that, but it seemed a little bit harder, you know? It just kept wanting to fly, so maybe they've changed the drag characteristics of the airplane a little bit. Kyle, if you're in the sim, the way to turn it on, I think, is you've got to go to the menu. Portland says you were flying a boot rack. Exactly, there you go. You gotta make your challenging approaches where you can get them. Go to data and change your multiplayer on or off there, Kyle. That's how you do it. But Kyle, I'm gonna be signing off here because I gotta go. It's getting a little late for me, unfortunately. Okay, let's go ahead and set parking brake. Stick full back. Gonna get avionics off here. Let's get all the lights off. Landing logo, or not logo, but taxi, beacon, strobes, position lights, etc. I'm gonna go up to about 1,000 RPM there, and let's go ahead and get the mixture to idle cutoff. There we go. Just gonna disregard that. We don't need that. There we go. Engine shutting down. There we go. That's cool. Engine off. Let's get the mags off. Super important step. You don't want somebody accidentally turning the prop and getting, you know, their finger sliced off, or something else going horribly wrong because you left the mags on when you shut down the airplane. Okay, there we go. Alright folks, thanks for flying along. This was super fun. Really enjoyed it. Beautiful part of the country to be flying in, and I really enjoyed kind of doing the little hop over the SpaceX facilities, or at least the way they were modeled in Boca Chica. That was a nice part of the world to visit as well. Alright folks, I'm going to hop off multiplayer here, but thank you to the 4 of you for flying along. This was super fun. Sorry I couldn't stick around longer, and sorry we couldn't wait for Kyle here, but but I really do have to go. I do apologize for that. Alright, folks. Let me go ahead and cue up some outro music here. I'm gonna pull up the drone cam as usual. Just gonna... Whoops. Hold on. There we go. Let's get some of that cool bokeh effect here. How do I do bokeh? There we go. Oh, look at that. Love that bokeh effect. That just looks amazing. That little blur, you know, the background blur, the way you'd get with a super good DSLR. Lots of fun. Okay, gonna create a quick screenshot there, and I wanted to change my my sensitivities a little bit during the outro. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna change the time of day just a smidgen here. All right. Oh, the sun's still up. Right around there. That's perfect. All right, folks. Well, hey, I want to thank you all so much for hanging out. This was super fun. I know I had fun. I hope you did as well. As usual, in the day and age of coronavirus and COVID and all that stuff, I do hope you all stay safe and healthy. You know, wear a mask when you go outside, all that jazz. And I'm not sure when I'm going to be streaming again next, by the way. As I said before, this past few days have been kind of an anomaly in that I've gotten a lot of time to stream recently, but starting next week, it's back to the good old days of, and not very good old days of that, of not finding a whole lot of time to stream. So hopefully I'll be back in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. We'll see. I'm not sure just yet. In the meantime, though, I hope you all stay safe and healthy. Absolutely Aviation, Portland, John Patton, Kyle Longley. Thank you all for flying along, or at least trying to fly along in the case of Kyle. For those of you that tuned in today, very, very much appreciate it. I had fun. I hope you did as well. And I am stalling for time here because I'm trying to figure out what music to go out on. I think I figured it out. We're going to go with our Broke for Free, our favorite freeware, copyright-free music band, or copyright-free music content creator to get us out for the night. So there we go. All right, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out. Look forward, hopefully, to catching y'all in a couple of weeks, perhaps longer. Not sure just yet. But in the meantime, y'all stay safe, stay healthy, blue skies and tailwinds. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time. Bye.